right. Good afternoon or good morning, I guess I should say, and welcome into severe weather coverage for Southern Tennessee weather. My name is meteorologist Elijah Kirby, and then we also have meteorologist Christopher King here also with us this evening, or this morning. Sorry, I'm going to keep on saying that, to do some severe weather coverage. So starting off here, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued here for Western Murray County. Okay, so this would include Mount Pleasant and Hampshire, and then just to the west of Santa Fe as well in far western Murray County. Okay, so I guess let's go ahead and jump right into it here since we're since we're here. It's 1:02 in the morning, folks, and this is our first time doing this together. So there's probably going to be some kinks, and you're gonna watch it live with us here. So
I'm gonna hit the wrong button up here. It's gonna happen. Probably.
Yes. So just be aware of that, but we're going to get you through it here. And just a good thing to start off with here, there are no severe thunderstorm warnings or tornado warnings or any storms at all anywhere else in the Southern Tennessee weather coverage area at this time. Okay, right now, all of the severe weather is way out here in Western Murray County at this current moment. So let's go ahead and begin.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at why we're under a severe thunderstorm warning. So what I want to do real quick is I want to check over at velocity to kind of show you what we're looking at here. We are looking at some winds just right in the hole in wall and north area. If I were to put the inspector tool on that to see that there are some winds that are 75 to 70 mile an hour in the storm. Doesn't necessarily mean that these are actually reaching the ground. You have to understand the beam height here is actually hitting the storm several thousand feet up, but maybe some of these winds do actually reach the surface. And so that's why the National Weather Service has gone ahead and issued a severe thunderstorm warning. They do have a tornado possible tag on this. This storm was actually warned as a tornado warning not too long ago for parts of Lewis County, and they allowed that to expire and continue with a severe thunderstorm warning. So for right now, winds are going to be the main threat as they move into western parts here of Maury County. And so what I want to do now is just kind of go back here and go back to radar and kind of give you an idea as to kind of where and when this is going to happen. So I'll always like to do storm tracks because people always ask me, when's it going to get to my house? When's it going to get to my area? So absolutely, let's go ahead and check that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of inspect this out. And how fast was it traveling? Do we know offhand? Like 50 miles an hour or something?
Yes, it was. It is 30 miles an hour.
Oh, 30. Wow. Okay. So let's try. Well, they have taken their sweet time to get here. Okay. So here's what we're going to be looking here inside of parts of western Maury County. You can look over the ISOM. It's going to be at your neck of the woods at 119, Hampshire at 121, Taylorsville at 123. Chapel Hill at 125. That's not the Chapel Hill over here in Marshall County. It's another Chapel Hill. Lovetown at 126. Poplar Creek at 131. Williamsport at 131. Arkland at 132. Sawdust. That's a name right there. 133. Canaan is 133. And Ridley is 134. So this is going to be moving into your area here within the next 30 minutes or so as these storms creepily move their way to the east. We thought we'd be here a little bit sooner than we have been tonight, but these storms have, I guess, decided just to pump the brakes a little bit and decided, hey, the first time we're going to work together, it's probably just going to be like an all-nighter. So anyway, so that's really what we're looking at right now. So if you're in those areas, we're going to expect to see some of these winds maybe enter your area. What I do want to look at too is if I can pull, and see, this is when I hit the wrong button. So here we go. So let me do this. There it is. All right, there we go. See, told you I was going to hit the wrong button eventually. What I want to do is look at severe. Let's see here. Threats. There is some hail in this storm that we were looking at. Anywhere that you see the purples, which it's not even into western Maury County yet, but these purples would probably give us half-inch hail, and that's been pretty much consistent in the storm as it trekked to the east. So just wanted to check that too. The main threat's going to be a wind threat right now. Hail has to be an inch in diameter or greater even to classify it as severe hail for severe thunderstorm warning. So I'm going to go back here.
Chris, I wanted to mention too on this, that the lightning is fairly
Absolutely.
impressive
Yeah,
with this.
yeah.
We have
I turned it off so we can see some stuff. Yeah.
169 strikes with this thunderstorm in the past 10 minutes. Okay, so this is a fairly robust thunderstorm in the upper levels as well, with all the lightning that's being produced, especially for, we're talking about 107 in the morning, right? So this is a very electrical thunderstorm as it pushes into western Murray County here over the next couple minutes. So again, Mount Pleasant, Hampshire, places like that are kind of the first in line here, right along the US 412 corridor coming out of Columbia is kind of where we're looking at the worst of this storm coming through right now.
Yeah.
And it is, it's fairly robust for, being, again, like I said, 107 in the morning here. And also want to give myself or me and Chris a pat on the back here, because we forecasted the start time for these storms to be 1 to 5 a.m., the timeline. And we're sitting here at 1:08 a.m. and these thunderstorms are about to enter Murray County here. So it's we did a good job here with those. So anyway, let's get back to talking about this thunderstorm. And we keep on climbing up here. We're up to 182 strikes with this thunderstorm.
It's going to be a pretty loud thunderstorm. I mean, you're going to definitely see it and hear it again. So you guys like rumbles of thunder, they'll likely wake you up. So the storm has that tendency. What I'm going to do is just kind of zoom out for a minute. I know we've kind of talked a little bit about this. It's barely getting into parts of Maury County here, but I kind of want to back up for just a minute just to kind of see what is coming our way. We do have some more storms that are coming our way that are over there, maybe in the Dyersburg area over in West Tennessee. We're waiting to see really as these storms take up a lot of the environment, will these storms over here continue to stay severe, or will they weaken as they come along? So just when we have this little threat of this storm that will move through the southern Tennessee coverage area, we still have some storms on the back edge that we'll have to keep in mind of as well. So this storm doesn't mean it's over once it's passed. We may have some more that come in here sooner rather than later. So I'm going to go ahead and go back over to this storm that was warned and kind of get more of a look here. So like I said, it is right there, right along 412 and moving almost due east over into Maury County. So really we're just waiting for the first parts of that storm. And typically on radar, where you want to see some of the heaviest stuff is where you see some of the highest DBZ returns. So right here where you see, well, that was absolutely the wrong color to use. You put red on top of red. Way to go, Chris. So yeah, let's try that again. Let's use blue over that. So where you see right here, the purples, typically the purples and the blacks, those colors, those are the highest returns. That's probably where we're seeing some of the hail. And that kind of coincides with where we were seeing some of that wind as well. So what I want to do is I want to go back real quick, and I do want to just check it for velocity again, because that's really the culprit here. I'll turn the lightning off for just a second so we can see. So really what I'm looking at in these areas kind of here, north of 412, and again, the most severe part of the storm hasn't even moved into Maury County yet. It's getting there, but that's really the area, this vicinity right here is where probably the majority of that severe wind is going to move. So what I'd like to do real quick while we're just sitting here and waiting for it is I'm going to go ahead and just put a really quick track on this. Maybe that's where some of the, it's still going to give me the same areas, but really what I'm looking for is more of the ISOM and north of 412. That's probably where, if it continues to take that eastern movement, that's where you're likely going to see that. So kind of in this general vicinity here, basically making up 412 and almost right into Columbia here, which I'll step away for a minute. There's Columbia right behind me. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now.
And Christopher, I wanted to point out too, if we go down here on the velocity data, we can actually see a little mesocyclone in the upper levels here, just between the Wayne and Lewis County line. Now, that's not currently warned, but that's something we may have to look out for a little bit further east later on. So this whole line here, if we go back to the reflectivity view here, this whole line here is fairly stout. I mean, we don't have any severe warnings really on this portion of the line right now, but over the next couple hours, it's something we're going to have to keep an eye on here. As these storms continue to push on in, and I'm watching the Weather Service chat room, and they're not saying anything much about this thunderstorm right now. There's some other storms that they're talking about off to the north there that are really impacting portions of Nashville right now. But I've seen a few comments come in that I wanted to mention. So there were some folks asking about, well, what about Unionville, and what about Chapel Hill? What about these areas and that area and everywhere else? But if we take this map and just kind of switch off to the east a little bit there, you can see there's not much going on. I mean, right. There's not much going on there. There's a few showers here that have popped up near Fayetteville along the 231 corridor there around Shelbyville Highway, but all of the severe stuff here is off to the west. I mean, we're talking about just far western Murray County at this point. So, of course, as the evening goes on, as the night goes on, we'll continue to watch. But it's also important to note that our best ingredients for severe weather is really going to be along and west of I-65. So I don't know if you can see it well, but here's kind of I'm just going to scribble in like a toddler here to really show it. But that's I-65 there, right? So along and west is really where the best storm ingredients are. Now, I'm not saying that we can't have a rogue strong storm the further east, but that's something we'll have to keep in mind. Now, I did want to also mention that the Weather Service has just extended the tornado watch into Bedford and Marshall County. Okay, so Bedford and Marshall County are now included in the tornado watch, and we can actually go in here. Let me turn on tornado watches real quick. I have them turned off because there's so much here, but you can actually see that Bedford and Marshall County are now included in this tornado watch. So they've kind of extended it off towards the US 231 corridor, and I think that's mostly based on this activity that's happening out here to the west right now. So now Marshall and Bedford County, now's the time that we need to start thinking about what if a warning is issued. That's what a watch means, right? What will we do if a tornado warning is issued? So I think I actually may have a graphic about that here. Watch versus warning. So let's look at that real quick here. A watch usually lasts for several hours. Okay, we're talking about a duration of several hours, portions of states. And that means to have a plan, right? A severe thunderstorm or tornado watch means to have a plan. A tornado or severe thunderstorm warning means that you need to take cover now. Okay, so a watch means conditions are favorable. A lot of people talk about the taco watches, right? If you have the ingredients to make a taco, it's a taco watch. You have your meat and your lettuce and your tomatoes and everything else for a taco. And then the taco warning is when you're about to eat it, right? You're about to eat the taco. It's about to enter your mouth, right? So that's kind of what we're dealing with here with the watch versus warning stuff. So that's something I forgot I had that graphic there to pull up real quick. But we'll go back here to the regular radar, and it looks like the Weather Service has put out a TMU severe thunderstorm warning or a special weather statement here. And I'm going to turn off real quick here the tornado watches so that we can see just the normal radar a little bit better there. But again, the tornado watch has been extended into Bedford and Marshall counties now. I'm going to make a quick post on social media to highlight that as well while Chris talks a little bit more about the storm that we have ongoing coming into western Murray County at this time.
I'll get it out of there eventually.
There you go.
All right, so let's go zoom back in here because that's kind of where our focus is. Here I am trying to pinch to zoom. But you can just kind of see that trek being to the east. And so really that's Elijah brought up a really good point that I was going to make as well. We kind of were thinking the same thing at the same time. But really, he said I-65. Oh, that's a beautiful line. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens on the other side of this. With them issuing a tornado watch and extending it to these two counties, their belief is that maybe that these storms continue to have a little oomph as they go off to the east. So it's good thing now, as he said, to kind of be thinking about that if you're in Lewisburg, if you're in Chapel Hill, if you're in Shelbyville, Unionville, all those places, because you get a good enough heads up warning that a storm may be imminent coming your way that could continue to be severe. So let's go right back down here into parts of extreme western Maury County here, and I'm going to go ahead and go back to the velocity data because that right there is going to let me know exactly what's going on. And they do. There's a little rotation down there, and that is wanting to rotate some. And it looks like now, as I'm going to zoom in a little tighter here on this shot, that we've got some of that wind. Again, it's right there just north of the 412 corridor right here, just entering over into Maury County. And so this is over here in that ISOM area that it was forecasting just a little bit ago. So it's just going to be making its way. But even if you're not there, maybe you're south of 412, more in the Mount Pleasant area, we're still looking at winds down here, 61 miles an hour, 53 miles an hour, 57 miles an hour. Again, you have to understand that these storms with the wind, I won't get into all the details, but a convective eddy is what's happening here. And sometimes those storms will pull this wind speed down to the ground. And so this is what the radar is reading several thousand feet up in the air. And so when you see that, some of this does reach. It doesn't reach everywhere, but it reaches enough. So there we go. That's what we've got going on right now, and that's the only thing that has our attention right now. We're going to be looking to this storm to the south. It's going to kind of go south, maybe south of our viewing area. We'll just have to wait and see. That thing's starting to show just a little bit more. Yeah, that's starting to show a little bit more tightening up right there. You can just see it south of Hole in Wall, which isn't our coverage area, but it's something to keep an eye on as that storm treks to the east. So, again, we're just looking at this storm. The majority of it is still over in Lewis County with it going 30 miles an hour. It is creeping along on a Sunday drive, honestly, over to the east. And it's just deciding it wants to sit down and take its little happy little time. And so it's going to do just that, which means that these winds as they come in, something to think about too, they could be in your area for a more prolonged period. If you think of a storm with 55, traveling at 55 miles an hour, it's going to pass you fairly quickly. But a storm at 30 miles an hour, while it passes you quickly, not as quickly. So those storms and the winds, especially when they're in that area, may be there for just a little bit longer. So that's something to keep in mind of as well. Let's go back and look at velocity again.
And so let's go back to reflectivity here, and I'm going to pull up the lightning again. I know I like to look at the lightning because I think that gives a good idea of how strong your updraft is. The more lightning that you have, the stronger the thunderstorm. That's a very easy correlation that we can make as meteorologists. So the more lightning that we have, the more the stronger the thunderstorm is. And one thing that I want to note here is that the lightning has come down just a tad. Over this portion of the storm that's coming into western Maury County now. But there's still a lot of lightning here with this southern portion coming down into Clifton, and that's again out of our coverage area, but that's in northern Wayne County and northern Lawrence County. And if it continues, that would be moving our direction over the next little while. So, it's just something we're going to have to watch. These storms have been kind of pulsing up and down over the past couple hours. So, it's something that we're going to have to watch very closely here. But let's zoom down in a little bit closer, or actually what I'm going to do, we're going to do a squall track here.
Oh, perfect.
And bring this out 30 miles an hour. So we have Mount Nebo at 125, Canaan at 126, Santa Fe. It just moved on me, 127. Rockdale, 131, Sandy Hook, 131, and Red Row, 131. So we're kind of getting into the, a lot of the communities surrounding Columbia there, once we get into the 130 time frame. And I apologize if I say a lot. It's 1:20 in the morning, so just bear with me, please.
That's right. That's right.
That's just something we're going to have to do this early in the morning. It could be a little tough. But anyway, further west, still watching, but nothing crazy going on down here. We have, again, some showers here coming through Lynchburg right now, coming up into Mulberry as well along State Route 50. But, overall, it's none of this activity is concerning me at this point, in Lincoln County or anything like that. But our main concern at this point is definitely going to be this stronger portion, this little complex or line, whatever you want to call it here, that's kind of formed from Santa Fe all the way down to Clifton here, and is moving off towards the east around 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of, tonight I've talked a little bit about Cape, and gave everybody a lesson on SQTs a little earlier online. But really, this is in an environment where it's obviously has some instability in the atmosphere, obviously warranting these warnings. But with longevity-wise, the wind shear, the amount of wind speeds and the direction of these wind speeds has been very great. All you got to do is go outside, guys, and just stick your head outside, and it's warm. It's got that feel to it if you haven't been outside. I about said this morning. And with that being said, these storms, like I said, will pulse back up. They've got enough energy to keep going. They don't just die out. And that's kind of been the same with this storm as it's traveled from West Tennessee over here in the past several hours. And so, again, we're just right here. The only warning that is in our coverage area is for western Maury County. That goes until 1:45 a.m. So it'll be interesting to see. Come on, Christopher. There we go. And it'll be interesting to see once that happens, will the National Weather Service decide to go ahead and issue a warning downstream? And so if that's the case, likely that's going to include you, Columbia. So be ready in all the places that are around Columbia. So we'll just have to wait and see. Usually the National Weather Service is really good about that in the chat to let us know whether or not they decide to extend a warning or keep it or to go ahead and cancel it. So that's, like I said, this is pretty much it for right now. Just kind of in velocity mode, going back and forth. I'm going to turn it.
There's still that rotation there just to the south of Hohenwald that's still showing up. Now, of course, this is mid-level rotation, so we're talking, probably tens of thousands of feet at this point. I mean, maybe 8 to 10,000 feet above the surface here. So, this is probably not transpiring all the way to the ground, which is why we don't have any official warning out for it. But it's something we're going to have to keep in mind because, again, we have that tornado watch in effect, and there will be, portions of this line that try to spin over the next few hours here. And you can see that well where Chris just I'll even zoom in a little bit closer to it here. And whoops, I guess that's probably not a good idea. But, you can see the rotation here with the reds and greens that are close together. That gives us a good sign that there's some twisting and turning of the storm winds and stuff. So that's something we'll have to keep in mind. But I'll be honest with you, Chris, the way that this storm is trending, I wouldn't be surprised if they let this warning expire or try to issue a warning down a little bit further south. We'll see what happens here in a moment. They're typing it up in the chat room. So
gotcha.
For the folks that are joining. Usually I'm the one doing most of the talking here, and obviously I'm still helping out a lot, but I'm also looking at a lot of stuff behind the scenes. I'm monitoring the chat room. If y'all have any questions for me, I'm also looking at the National Weather Service chat room and a lot of different stuff to make sure that we're giving you all the most accurate information. If you remember from last time when I didn't have Chris here, I was like a crazy man trying to look, every single direction possible to figure out what was going on. So this is a whole lot better and a whole lot calmer for me.
Yeah.
And I hope it's a whole lot calmer for y'all too, that we can talk over stuff together. Absolutely. And, be able to, it's just good to have some good help. Right. So anyway, that's just a little bit I wanted to throw in there, but keep on rolling there.
Yeah, you can't see off screen, but he's got like 5 different windows open and stuff. And so as somebody that did this like you for a very long time by yourself, it is hard to be able to do all of that and juggle all that information and make sure that you don't miss anything and you cross every T and you dot every I. So I completely understand. My power went out last time it happened. So anybody that's watching that followed me was like, well, he ended up with his iPad with a phone. So you got to do what you got to do. So again, I mean, really, the only thing we're just kind of watching here, it's not like we're watching the grass grow, but because this storm is, moving so slow, it's kind of trending over those same areas. I'll just kind of go back to, probably need to move it just a little bit, right in these areas where we would likely see the strongest of the winds. Okay, so again, I'll zoom back out just a couple of clicks. So really, the wind speeds have died down a little bit. And actually, these wind speeds right here are actually, according to this, are below the severe thunderstorm threshold right now. You have to have 50 knots or 58 miles an hour as you translate that. And so these right here are under those limits. And so if that happens to stay that way, we'll just kind of keep going and looking and seeing most of those down through there. So it may be interesting, like he was saying, that they've noticed that this trended where the storm has kind of weakened just a little bit. And probably what's going on, and this happens quite a bit because we're still seeing this rotation. These two storms were battling. So basically, you've got this storm that's trying to win out the energy, and what's above it probably gets lost in it, especially with that inflow that's probably coming into this storm. Actually, I can go back over and look real quick on radar and kind of see, there's a little notch in there where the inflow is from warm air trying to feed into that. So this is going to happen when you have these lines of storms, unlike a discrete supercell that's kind of all up to itself. All these storms are really trying to fight almost for some of the same real estate. And so where one part of the storm strengthens, usually this part weakens, like a multi-cell storm. Typically what happens is they keep forming and this part's strong, and then this part's going to get stronger down here. And then we have the old tail end Charlie, which is usually the last storm in the line. Usually it's unabated to anything. And so definitely seeing that kind of weaken there a little bit. So I will be interested with you to see what happens if they continue this severe thunderstorm warning for about another 15 more minutes, or will they just allow it to expire? We'll just have to wait and see.
Christopher, if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to real quickly here, don't touch anything on the screen there, because I'm going to pull up our Mount Pleasant camera.
Oh, perfect.
And I think that would be great to be able to look at, because this thunderstorm is pretty much coming right into Mount Pleasant right now.
Absolutely.
So I think it would be great to be able to see what's going on here in Mount Pleasant right now. Now, it honestly, from this point of view, why are we at Chapel Hill? Hold on. Again,
holy cow! You're going to see a lot of lightning.
Yeah. So this is just from a website here, because we still need to figure out some stuff. But you can see there's a lot of lightning going on in Mount Pleasant. This is looking off towards the west. There's the interchange there with the US 43 right on the southwest side of the airport. And you can see it's a very electrical thunderstorm here ongoing in Mount Pleasant, looking off toward. Oh, that was a nice strike right there.
Yeah,
wow.
It was.
So yeah, I'm geeking out a little bit looking at this stuff, but it's some interesting stuff that we can look at and pull in as these storms continue to push off towards the west. Now, I'm actually more interested in Mount Pleasant, that rotating part, the upper level rotating part, because I think that's actually moving towards Mount Pleasant. So that'll be interesting to see here momentarily.
Right. Yeah, it's actually sitting a little bit north now. It kind of went just a little bit to the north of its position there in Lewis County. And what he's talking about, man, I'm going to go ahead I'm not going to go ahead and circle it. I'm going to go ahead and circle it because I'm going to guarantee that's where that's at. Oh, it's hadn't caught up with it yet. But yep, right there.
Oh,
there,
yeah,
there it is. See, told you. It's pretty easy to see. So real quick, that's starting to strengthen up a little bit, man. So what's going on here is that you've got this storm that has all this air down here that's really warm, and I'm going to hit whoops a lot. It's feeding in, and you can see where that little notch is, and that's typically where we would have any kind of rotation. So when you look at the area that I just outlined, and you put it with that velocity, it's pretty much on the same thing there. So, that's going to be interesting to see. But it did, as I said in the very beginning, if you missed it, this severe thunderstorm warning had a tornado possible tag on it as well. So they were seeing some rotation. This actually was a tornado warning. If you just came on in Lewis County, it was a tornado warning. They allowed that to expire at 1 o'clock and then extended it as a severe thunderstorm warning into portions of western Maury County. And now definitely seeing some rotation here. So as that's trekking over to the east, they may include portions of Mount Pleasant if they decide to go tornado warned on that. It's definitely got broad rotation on it right here. Doesn't really have a couplet yet, but very broad rotation right there in the mid levels of the atmosphere.
Yes,
and that's typically what you want to look for. It's going to rotate in the mid levels before it reaches the ground. Mm-hmm. So.
I'm going to switch this off real quick, because I had a good point from one of the viewers here asking about rain, because this is a very there's a lot of rainfall in here. So let's see, just over the past 3 hours here. Now, obviously, the data hasn't caught back up yet all the way in. But if we just do the inspect tool here, we can see that there's some folks already picked up 1, maybe even 2 inches as this storm has slowly moved off towards the west, or moved off towards the east. So as it continues to push off, as long as it continues to have the amount of rain it does, that a good portion of Murray County here is going to get a pretty good soaking here after a while, which is very much needed. Now, I don't think we're going to be talking about very much in the way of flooding concerns because we're so dry, but as I saw personally in the thunderstorms that we had on Saturday, you can get a thunderstorm that sits over you, and it don't matter how dry it is. If it comes down hard enough, it's going to pond and flood in a few places, nuisance kind of flooding for a little while before the ground can really soak it in, because it's kind of a shock to the system. It's a shock to the ground when you have so much rain falling so quickly. So anyway, we'll get back to the regular radar here.
That may be the blessing of the storm actually traveling the speed that it's traveling, because it is allowing that area to get more saturated, more rain falling over an area for a longer length of time. So everybody, I know that's the one thing. Saturday rolled around, we didn't get any rain, and then all of a sudden, the heavens opened up. It was nice to see that rain and smell it for once. And so I think that definitely, you guys are definitely getting some good rain right there in western portions of Maury County, really on up 412, actually north of Columbia. You can notice that rain band has kind of went to the north, that heavier section that was in that warning. And so again,
and I'm kind of really, Christopher, if I'm being honest here, just looking at the radar, it almost looks like the worst of that storm has kind of exited the warning polygon, or at least fallen apart for the most part.
Yes.
And really, the worst part of the storm here is just south of Hohenwald, like where we've been talking about, where that mid-level rotation is. I think that's where the worst of the thunderstorm is going to be, just south of Hohenwald. So I still want to keep a close eye on that, especially as that comes into Mount Pleasant over the next couple minutes here. But at least for right now, we're doing fairly good here, and I think the warning still goes for another 10 minutes, about 12 minutes. So
12 minutes.
We'll have a little bit of time left here on this particular severe thunderstorm warning before we can cut back to regular programming or whatever we need to do for a little bit. But we'll see what the Weather Service decides to do, because I'm still wondering about that.
Absolutely. Well, and it's easy to tell where the storm is strengthening right here. You can see in the reflectivity, the DBZ, the values right here. Anytime you get those purples, that's going to equate to very heavy rain and some hail. They did? Did they? Okay. Is that going to include us?
Maybe no, that's right. All right, so it's a new severe thunderstorm warning here. It hadn't even come into my. I got it off of Twitter. I didn't even get it off my chat room here. I don't know what's going on there, but
there it is.
Yes. Okay. So there's our new severe thunderstorm warning now. So again, this is for the southern half of that line that we were talking about that had some mid-level rotation there, that had some interesting characteristics that we were watching, and they did decide to put out a severe thunderstorm warning here. So
go ahead and just check some of that. Let's go ahead.
This warning is actually for just southern Murray County. Okay, so we're talking about Mount Pleasant over to Colioca, and then just to the west of Cornersville as well. Okay, is kind of where we're looking at right now with this particular warning. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer here. So this is kind of the area that we're looking at here.
There we go.
Colioca to Bryant Station over to Mount Pleasant on this new severe thunderstorm warning that runs until 2:30 a.m. All right. So let me see here if they are going to continue what they have on okay, so no tornado possible tag on this one, which is good.
Okay.
But they do have moving east to 55, so we're starting to catch up some speed here as it pushes off towards the west or east.
Track on that one then.
Yes.
OHX radar. And we probably want to do more of a linear, just because that line. Can you do that for me? Because I cannot do it with a touch screen. That's the one thing I can't do.
Absolutely.
We figured that out when we were trying to test this several weeks ago.
So we're going to do kind of the strongest portion of the line here from 412 all the way down here, and then we're going to bring it out at 55 miles an hour. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to also on this end bring down the amount of cities that we have on this list here. So we're going to bring this down to that's not the one that I was hoping for. So hold on, I'll get it here in a second. Okay, here we go. Well, maybe not. 02. There we go. Okay, so Mount Pleasant, we're looking at you around 144 for the worst of this thunderstorm. Etheridge, 155. Colioca, 2 o'clock a.m. So that's going to be in southern Murray County as well. Linville in Giles County, we're looking at about 202 for this thunderstorm. And then Bryant Station in Murray County at 2:03 a.m. So we're talking about pretty much, other than Mount Pleasant, close to the 2 o'clock hour before these storms get near the I-65 corridor, okay? So again, 60-mile-per-hour winds are going to be the primary concern. And then they also have they're saying that the hail threat doesn't look all that great with this, but of course the damaging wind threat, 60+ mile-per-hour winds will be possible. So anyway, that's the latest there on the squall track. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Let me get rid of that, and you're good to go there.
All right, so what I want to do is I kind of want to look at this part of the storm to look some at the velocity data. Down here, just north of Waynesboro, looks kind of interesting too, right there. I'm not going to look at that right this very second. That doesn't include us, but I'm like, that looks interesting. And so really, yeah, and that's that. There's down there's a little rotation as well. And so really, what we're looking at is more the northern portions of that storm here before it gets northern parts of southern parts of Lewis County here. So what I want to do is just kind of see what kind of speeds 39. 47, 66. Really, the epicenter of the winds is right here. So I would say Mount Pleasant, you're going to see some wind, but according to radar, most of this may go just to the south of you. So anybody that's trekking right along the Maury County line, that's probably where we're going to see the best chance for these damaging winds to enter your area here within the next 30 minutes or so, all the way over to I-65. It's about the next 30 minutes or so. So that's what I was wanting to look at to see exactly what portions that they were talking about. And so I was looking at this over here in Waynesboro. It's kind of interesting, but I don't think that it'd be interesting to see if that wants to take the same path, because that'll turn over the same area. So there we go. So that's really what we're looking at now. We've got about 7 more minutes on that other warning. Most of that, if I go back again, I'll go back to velocity again just to show you guys. Most of the wind right here, especially in that first severe thunderstorm warning. Let me move it over here so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. This area is just really has died out. It wouldn't surprise me if they just allow that one to expire and continue with this new severe thunderstorm warning, because it seems like the majority of the strength and the oomph in the storm is now pretty much south of that original severe thunderstorm warning, and hence why they issued this new severe thunderstorm warning that goes all the way out over here. Like I said, parts of I-65, all the way up to southwest Marshall County.
And let's zoom in here, Chris, really quickly.
Sure, go ahead.
Let's zoom in a little bit closer here to some of the communities that are really going to be impacted by the worst of this severe thunderstorm moving into southern Murray County. So we're talking about Mount Pleasant, Scotts Mill, Hopewell, Hollywood, right there along US 31, Sandy Hook and Rockdale along US 43, okay? And then coming a little bit further towards the east, we're talking about Colioca and Campbell Station, Bryant Station, okay? So it's kind of the worst of the areas that we're talking, about in terms of the worst of the winds with this particular thunderstorm. If I'm being honest with you, I'm kind of thinking the worst of the wind stays just south of Mount Pleasant as well. And we're talking about really right along the Giles and Lawrence County line here in Murray County, where the worst of this thunderstorm is. But I'll be honest with you, Chris, I am getting a little concerned here about this about this rotation that I'm seeing. Whoops. Let's go to There's still a good. So the reds and the greens, when they're really close together, that's where we have the winds moving in opposite directions really close together, and that means that we're having rotation in the atmosphere. Okay, so we're let's look at the shear product and see.
That's exactly what I was going to look at.
So there is some moderate to strong shear here showing up. weak to strong shear here showing up, where we do have that rotation in the atmosphere in far northern Lawrence County. So just an advance heads up that, we've been watching this area rotation for, good 30 minutes now, I think.
Yeah.
But, as it continues to push off towards the east, we're going to have to watch this closely moving up into southern Murray County. And honestly, I don't know if I was going to see if Huntsville had a better look on it, but honestly, it doesn't. I think Nashville has the best look on this thunderstorm right now. So anyway, that's just another portion that we're watching there. So someone also just said that that they're getting hail in Unionville right now. So let's go up here, and it does look like we have some stronger cells moving in, maybe some small hail.
Yeah, right there with that purple is.
Just north and west of Bell Buckle, and then just getting a lot of rain here from Spring Hill down into Neapolis, and then down into Columbia as well along the US 31 corridor. Just a lot of heavy rain. Not really seeing much in the way of severe weather for y'all, but any rain is good, right? We need the rain, so anything is good in that department. So right now, again, there's no severe thunderstorm warnings here. There's a lot of activity starting to pop up here, but no severe thunderstorm warnings yet, or no lightning yet. Actually, we don't have the lightning turned on. There's one lightning strike.
One strike just in Alabama.
So there's not very much lightning there going. Okay, tornado warning has just come out here for this couplet, and let's see if this does include Murray County. Yes, it does. So we do have a tornado warning that is now in effect here. So let's go ahead and get into our tornado mode.
Right.
So again, this is that area of rotation that we were just talking about just a second ago. We were just listing off, these communities in southern Murray County just a second ago. Okay, so this is where we're watching.
I just touched it and it did that. Sorry, I made it mad.
No, you're fine. So again, it's 1:45 in the morning. There's going to be some oopsie daisies here and there. Okay, but there's a tornado warning that's in effect. We're talking about Culleoka. We're talking about Bryant Station. Okay, right along the I-65 corridor. Right now, the worst of the rotation is still in Lawrence County, but it is coming right up here on the Murray County line. So if you're along Lawrenceburg Highway, and this is US 43, Dry Creek Road, Smith Hollow Road, Elk Ridge Road. We're talking about Hopewell Road in the Enterprise community, Enterprise Road, Richardson Lane, Moore Lane, Southport, Campbellsville Pike. If we're talking about your area, you need to be seeking shelter at this time, because we have a fairly strong couplet that could be producing a tornado here coming right over the Lawrence and Murray County line, and is moving off towards the west, or off towards the east, towards Linville and Culleoka. Okay, Linville and Culleoka, you need to be seeking your tornado shelter at this time.
That's right. Just remember, guys, in a tornado warning, you need to make sure that you are in the lowest level of your house. If you have a basement, that is preferred. But if you don't, put as many walls between you and the outside as humanly possible. I know, yes. I do have do you have it?
Tornado safety.
Aha!
Yes.
So it just says a safe place option. The interior room on the lowest level is always a safe place. Basements and storm shelters are the best options. If you have a bathroom that's an interior bathroom, that is the best. The plumbing inside the walls actually acts as armor to a storm. And so if you've got that, that's exactly where you need to be. If you've got one of those closets underneath the bookshelf, underneath the stairwell, that is a perfect place to be as well. But if you do have a basement or storm shelter, those are obviously the best options if you have them. I'm a Tullahoma native. Us Tullahomians don't have a lot of them. Anybody that's watching from Tullahoma can tell you that. So, all right, let's go ahead and get back to that track so we can just nail it right down to. Let's go ahead and do that just for that little broad road. Yeah, that rotation right there.
What was it moving at? Do you remember? I think it's 45.
45.
Yeah. Okay, so here's what we got here.
And so look, right there, we're going to be at let's see here, Rockdale. At 149, Enterprise at 154, Screamers at 155, Culleoka, it's going to be with you at 209, Campbell Station at 208. It looks like it may track just to the south, but it seems to want to hug that Morgan County line, and you can see it now, actually going right into the very extreme southwest corner of Morgan County right now. And so again, if you are in these areas right now, you need to be in your tornado safe place. Go ahead. You've got our app. Turn us up if you're on Roku. Turn the TV up as loud as you can get it. Get in that interior room, and we will walk you through every step of the way until this tornado warning is over. So that right there, when you look at it, that's going to be the timing. So really what we're looking at, guys, if I'm saying Culleoka, you're going to probably be here in the next 20 minutes or so, 20, 25 minutes, and this will be all the way past you. Rockdale Enterprise is pretty much on top of you right now. It may be just to the south of you.
So this is sorry to get you in there, but so this is our camera in Mount Pleasant, looking off towards the south and east, right into this tornado warning. And we can see here that we have a wind speed of 16 miles an hour and a gust of 32, but that main line is really about to come in right now. So this is what the current view looks like here from the Mount Pleasant camera, looking off towards the south and east, right into this tornado warning that we have currently in effect here. So anyway, let's get back to tracking it here because, it's the middle of the night. We're not going to be able to see very much.
Absolutely not. What I'm going to do, just for giggles, is I'm going to pull up. Let's see here. It's under severe. Nope. I'm looking for correlation coefficient.
Tornado debris. It's under severe.
So, I got you. Tornado debris. Okay. They're calling it that. Okay.
There's not. My product isn't showing up here.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay. Let's try. Okay. I don't know what the debris. What's going on with the debris tracker there, but it's I'll keep an eye on it on my end, and if anything changes there with that, then
let's go back.
And also, I want to note here, Chris, that it looks like that the hail has really,
especially right here, just to the southwest of Mount Pleasant, where that little black is on the radar return right there, would probably mean we do have some hail.
Let's look at the Barron button here and see what it's showing for hail.
That's probably
it's showing an inch and a half. So that would be what, ping pong ball size, probably.
And that right there is showing you that this updraft has intensified.
Oh, we just had a gust of 49 here on our Mount Pleasant camera as well. So it's getting, you can see how much it's wiggling back and forth here. We have some really strong winds.
Yeah, had a gust of 49. It's 35 right now. It's had
a really good gust there just a moment ago there in Mount Pleasant. So even if you're not, Mount Pleasant is actually south of or north of the tornado warning, but you're still getting really strong winds, upwards of 50 to maybe even 60 miles. Oh, there you go, 66. Just got a gust of 66 on our Mount Pleasant camera. So
that's beyond severe limits.
Yes, that is well beyond severe limits. So obviously, even if we're not seeing the worst of the winds here, and let me see if I know this is not the flashiest thing to do here, but you can see the Chris, if you step off the screen, I don't know if I can. Okay, no. If I zoom it in anymore, it'd just be never mind. But it just trust me that it says that the wind speed was 66 there just a second ago.
Take my word for
it on the Mount Pleasant camera. So anyway, we'll get back out of there, and they're actually about to get hit with some pretty good hail here momentarily as well there in Mount Pleasant.
Let me zoom back into that tornado warning.
Yes, let's get back.
Let's go back storm relative.
Oh, whoops, sorry.
That's okay.
All
right. So it's broad rotation. It's not anything where I'm just seeing a really tight couplet, but it's enough rotation given the wind shear that we have in the atmosphere, all the wind speeds, that they want to go ahead and issue this. And so we were trying to look at correlation coefficient or tornado debris to see if a tornado actually is down. At this point in the evening, no storm spotters really going to be able to see it unless there's a ton of lightning in the area to kind of expose it. And you can kind of see there's quite a bit of lightning here right around the vicinity of that velocity right there. So that being said, it's just showing you where the strength of that storm lies right now. And it really just kind of pulsed up because that inch and a half hail was not something that we had seen even 10 minutes ago. So this is the environment that these things are in again, where we've got some higher Cape values. We've got a little bit more instability up until this I-65 corridor. So I'm just going to kind of zoom in again and just kind of give you kind of this general vicinity. So like I said, it is hugging right along the Maury County line. So those communities that are right on the extremity, that's who it seems to be where the rotation's going. But it really doesn't matter. If you're inside that polygon, you should be in your tornado safe place. And so with this storm moving as slow as it is, like I said, you're going to be down there for a little while, but just have everything going. Actually, just after that next scan, it looked like it did, especially on the backside, because you've got the greens as the wind that's coming toward the radar, and the reds is outbound winds. And so when you have those two together, you definitely have rotation when you have two winds going like this. Exactly. And that's where we're going to have that rotation. So it's really broad, maybe sort of toward it in the middle, right there at the line where you may see them. But you have a pretty broad, like I said, rotation. If we were able to see this right now at daytime and look up at the clouds, you would definitely see the clouds rotating right now.
So I just want to name off a few roads here that are in far southern Maury County. So we're talking about Preacher Holt Road, okay, Southport Road, coming right into the community of Southport, Campbellsville Pike, Toll Duggar Road, Stockard Road, Moore Lane, coming into Hollywood. All right, they're in Hollywood in far southern Maury County, there along Pulaski Highway, US 31 there, Duggar Road, Culleoka and Pleasant Grove, right along Culleoka Highway, and Campbell Station. Okay, that's really the area where this tornado warning is going to be, or this tornadic couplet is moving towards. And I want to give an advance heads up too to Lewisburg and Cornersville, okay? Because if this storm continues on its current path, it will be impacting, portions of Marshall County here after a while. Now, I don't know if it's going to continue its strength, and we'll see. We'll see when it gets there. But it's something else to keep in mind here over the next little bit.
Exactly right. And so, again, these storms are in an environment that they're allowed to be long-lived. They don't just pulse out after 10 minutes. They are staying pretty active as they trek to the east again. So that's why you're still seeing these storms kind of blow up a little bit. Let me see what radar looks like for just a second. Kind of zoom out here for just a second. Definitely Mount Pleasant is probably getting pelted. Even though they have decided to go ahead now that it's 1:53, they've canceled that severe thunderstorm warning up there, or it's allowed it to expire rather. But very active north of Mount Pleasant right now.
Yes, a lot of lightning and probably some small hail too. I wouldn't be surprised they're we're just south of Hampshire down into the US 43 corridor coming from Columbia down into Mount Pleasant, probably getting some, P, maybe up to dime-sized hail, but definitely where, we're seeing the major risk right now and where we're honing in on is the tornado warning that we have in effect here. And this is really just skirting right along the line. I mean, we're talking about right there between Murray and Giles County line is where this tornadic circulation is going to be moving through. So if you're in Linville, if you are in Culleoka, if you are in Bryant Station, you need to be seeking your tornado shelter at this time. If you're hearing, if you just got an alert on your phone, and all sorts of other stuff. So we need to, and there are some unconfirmed reports coming in that this tornado may have been on the ground at one point. I'm not sure how reliable those reports are, if it's still on the ground at this point, because we can't see the debris signature. Well, actually, yeah. You hold on.
Yeah, go to do what you need to do.
Okay, yeah. Here's the debris signature.
There's the CC.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything there.
The CC drops.
So this is the debris detector, and we're looking for blue values, because blue values correlate to debris being lofted. The radar is looking at something that's not uniform, like it could be leaves. Even it doesn't have to necessarily be someone's belongings or something flying up in the sky. It can just be leaves or tree branches or stuff like that. But another thing to keep in mind is that this tornado is fairly high, or this severe thunderstorm warning, we're pretty far away from the radar. So yeah, it would have to be a really, really strong tornado to be able to pick up on the debris that far, that far out. But anyway, we'll see here. This circulation still looks fairly good here. We have 93 strikes in the past 15 minutes. And you can see the reds and greens there that are still fairly close together, right over northern Giles County and far southern Murray County at this current moment. And again, if you're in Cornersville, if you're in Lewisburg, all right, this is your advance heads up. You need to start thinking about what you're going to do when that tornado warning gets issued. I'm not saying it's going to, but we're close enough that we're going to have to watch this very closely over the next few moments here.
And history is telling us that these storms are not necessarily just dying out.
I wanted to also note that we do have 1,000, more than 1,000 customers without power in the Hampshire area now, where the core of that storm just came through. Okay. So Duck River is reporting some fairly impressive outages there on the southwestern side of their system in southwestern Murray County there as well with the worst of the system. So we're going through this, we're getting some power outages and stuff like that, which is definitely something that we're used to when these strong storms come through.
Absolutely. It's going to happen. It even happens on marginal risk days when there's just a gust front, as we had a couple Thursdays ago. So really, it looks like, again, it's shifting a little bit north, a little bit south of that line. We still want to let people know it's about safety first. And so again, right there, probably Culleoka. It looks to be that the majority, where I'm looking at specifically where we would think the strongest rotation would be right there, right just south of the Murray County line. So Culleoka, it may just skirt you to the south, but it doesn't. You still need to be in your tornado safe place, absolutely, until the tornado warning has expired, okay? But I would say this, as far as the tornado is concerned, anybody that's back here in that little quadrant of Rockdale, Sandy Hook, Enterprise, and probably Screamer at this point, that rotation has passed you. The part of the storm that's warranting the tornado warning is now past you. But if we're looking at places like, let's see here, let me zoom in enough. So Campbell Station, the Hollywood area, Southport, right there, the extreme southeast corner of Maury County, that you guys are probably in the bullseye for that if it continues to go due east. So a lot of these storms, when they start rotating, tend to take more of a right movement. So, okay, let me zoom back out a minute. And so it's
and this, I want to say too, this couplet is getting awful close to the US 31 corridor, and as soon as it exits the US 31 corridor, we're going to be talking about Marshall and probably maybe even Bedford County, getting in on some type of warning here, fairly soon. So, we're the county line here is not too far off from. Oh, whoops. So, and we're still getting a lot of strikes here at 162 strikes or 160 strikes in the past 15 minutes. So, a lot of lightning, a lot of electrical thunderstorms going on. Now, I do want to do just quick a zoom out, just real quick.
Go ahead.
And while we're kind of babysitting that right on the Giles and Maury County line, we do have a lot of electrical thunderstorms here in Rover, just north of Chapel Hill, into Holt's Corner, also over to Columbia, getting in on some heavy rain, right? But we're not necessarily seeing any strong to severe thunderstorms. Now, we're going to have this to deal with after a while. This is a line of thunderstorms that will be moving through the region. Will they be strong to severe when they get here? I don't know. They look fairly stout from this perspective right now. But again, we'll have to see how the atmosphere reacts to the current thunderstorms that we have ongoing and stuff like that. But I'll be honest with you, compared to what has happened off to the north and west today, which is kind of a bust scenario, this has been one of the most impressive storms that we've had this evening across the whole entire risk area. Has been right here in our area in southern Murray County. So anyway, our most pertinent, situation here is definitely this warning, and I do want to do a quick track.
Do that.
And we're going to zoom this out here and go. We're going to bring this out into Marshall County. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing I did earlier, and hopefully, I know what I'm doing now. Okay, so we're talking about Colioca at 2:03 a.m. is when this tornadic circulation will be towards you. Linville, 2:04. Bryant Station, 2:11. Cornersville, 2:17. And Lewisburg at 2:17. Okay, that's when the worst of this thunderstorm will be in your area. So go ahead and think about, what do I need to do to get prepared to maybe seek shelter over the next couple minutes if you are in Marshall County and maybe even Western Bedford County as well, if this circulation continues. Now,
and it still looks like it's not really weakened really much
and
at all.
I think we are getting close enough that maybe the Huntsville radar might be. It's still a little noisy.
This is just really it's not a radar hole necessarily, but we don't have a radar that's really close enough to get more of a low-level look like places the farther east you go with the Huntsville radar. And so that's probably why, looking at this, they're going to issue that tornado warning. It's not necessarily tight, but it's tight enough.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So anyway, I'm keeping a close eye on the chat over here, and I'll be sure to relay any additional information that I have. But again, if you're in Cornersville, if you're in Lewisburg, be thinking about what you may need to be doing to prepare for a tornado warning. And then Bryant Station, Colioca, and Linville, you need to be in your safe place right now. Okay, Bryant Station, Colioca, Linville, right along the US 31 corridor is where the worst of this thunderstorm is going over right now with the tornadic circulation. And I mean, here it is. You can see it clear as day. Even if it is pretty far off the ground, and it still seems like it's not wanting to let up here.
No, it really hasn't. It hasn't really weakened. What I'm looking at is really the brightness of those greens next to those reds. I mean, the colors tell the story, okay? And so it's really stayed like this for quite a long time. When does this tornado warning expire?
It actually expires at 2:30. So this couplet's going to move out the warning polygon before it expires.
And then the next question will be, will they go ahead and issue a tornado warning downstream? Elijah's looking in the NWS chat, and when the National Weather Service decides that they're going to do that, you're going to be the first to know it even before it pops up.
Okay, so they are saying that they're probably going to let the tornado warning expire here and just maybe go with a severe thunderstorm warning further off towards the east. So we'll have to, stuff can change between now and then. So I'm going to be keeping a close eye on everything that I see here. But again, the most pertinent situation, of course, right this moment is the tornado warning. But take a look at that, Christopher, just off to the north there. Look at all the lightning.
I know we've kind of focused on the tornado warning, but really Mount Pleasant, when it was coming over you guys, it just all of a sudden that part of the storm really intensified quite a bit.
There's a lot of, just in this little area, there's 77 strikes in the past 15 minutes.
That's insane.
Very electrical storm. And of course, this will be moving off towards the east. Columbia, Lewisburg, Shelbyville, Chapel Hill, maybe getting in on it a little bit later on, as we go deeper into the 2 o'clock hour, closer to 3 o'clock. So, these are very electrical storms they're going to be moving through. I call them late night boomers, right? That's really what this is here, is a bunch of late night boomers coming through. So
I was just looking to see, is this OHX?
Thank you, Elijah, by the way, for being in the chat and putting that stuff up there. I greatly appreciate it.
I can see where that rotation on the velocity. A lot of times when you want to look at more of a specific rotation, I like to go to storm relative velocity.
They are going to go with the Weather Service decided they are going to go with a severe warning with the tornado possible tag further east. So
that's what I was thinking.
We should see that probably come out here fairly soon. And I wouldn't be surprised if it clips part of Bedford County there. We'll just have to wait and see. But it's definitely going to be for a good portion of Marshall County, especially the southern half there. And again, we're coming up on 2 a.m. There's a lot of folks that aren't up right now. I mean, we have 400 people watching with us on Facebook Live right now.
There you go.
There's a lot of folks up with us, but
we're up for sure. Also something to note, if you heard what he said, it's going to be a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag. So what that means to me, if I'm inside of that, I need to be ready in the event that maybe this storm is kind of getting ready to pulse out a little bit. And storms like this will do this, where it will rotate, it will get kind of strengthened, and then it will die out, and then it will regenicize. And then when it does re-energizes back up, it could very well produce a tornado warning. I've seen many of those do that. So tornado possible tag, that's probably the right call here. But really, the brunt of those winds are going to be right there in Linville. So let me, I'll get this eventually. I'm so used to touching it, it is right. It's okay. I'll talk to this thing. We're going to name it before long. We'll have a name for it. So what I want to do is I just want to get some wind speeds here. So yeah, I need to go over here. There we go. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. It's 60. Let me back out a minute. So really what we're looking at here is this kind of generalized area, but more specifically as this treks over to the east. So Cornersville, Lewisburg, I only assume that when they issue that severe thunderstorm warning, it's probably going to include you guys for sure. And so we're looking at just in that general vicinity, we're looking at 58. That is the threshold for a severe thunderstorm warning. We've got 6. Yes, I did it. I teach middle school, okay? So I have to do 6-7. Sorry. And it's 2 o'clock in the morning, too. 58 miles an hour. And so all of these right here are going to be within those severe limits. So when the National Weather Service, Nashville, it does include Shelbyville, man.
Yes,
Okay.
They also went with the considerable damage threat as well for 70-mile-an-hour winds.
Okay.
So we have a new severe thunderstorm warning that is coming out now. It includes a good portion of Marshall and Bedford counties. Okay, and this is going to be for 70-mile-per-hour winds and the chance for some 60 or 70 plus mile per hour winds, and tornado is also possible. We can't rule it out here. Okay, so there is the new warning here. I'll zoom down in even to it, and this is who it includes. So we got Shelbyville, Wartrace, Lewisburg, Cornersville. We're talking about Wheel and Pleasant Grove. Pretty much all of Bedford County here, from Normandy to Shelbyville to Wartrace, all the way in is included in this new severe thunderstorm warning. Now, our folks that are in the tornado warning here, just give us a couple more moments. This tornado warning is still in effect here for Culleoka and just south of Bryant Station, so just stick with us just a little bit longer. But I think that our main threat now is moving into Lewisburg and Cornersville. Okay,
absolutely.
So here's again the worst of the winds are going to be right here where we have the brighter values showing up here on the radar. And again, we're looking at easily severe criteria winds, and we're also getting to a point where the radar beam is perpendicular to the line, to the wind, and it can actually make it harder for the radar to be able to pick up on some of the stronger wind gusts. So it's honestly fairly impressive that this storm is showing severe winds with the direction of the Huntsville radar might be better to look at now.
That's what I was looking to see if I could get something better on Huntsville.
Yeah, so you can see there right outside of Linville. Now that does.
I was looking at that. I saw that.
Oh yeah.
And so, but no, he's right. Yeah. Here's the way I look at it too on this severe thunderstorm warning. So just so you know, it expires at 3 a.m. So for them to go ahead and issue this downstream that far leads them to believe that we're definitely going to be an environment that these storms are going to continue to hold their strength. So that's really why they go that far out with it having a considerable tag. This is if I'm at home and my wife and kids are at home and they're under a considerable, you've got to think about what 70-mile-an-hour winds could actually do, okay? Especially if your home is near any kind of trees. I just tell people in that situation, you may want to go ahead and go to the interior. I sometimes will even tell people, you treat it almost like a tornado warning. You want to make sure that you're in the middle of the house. You know your environment. You know what's outside your house. If you've got trees, especially with 70 miles an hour, you want to be kind of in the middle. So that's just something to think about. We don't always get considerable tags on severe thunderstorm warnings here. As a matter of fact, our level of risk didn't even think that we would. We would just have up to 60 miles an hour. So the storms are trying to impress us a little bit. But right here from the Huntsville radar, any of these bright greens in this area, and that just kind of coincides with where they have put the polygon for the severe thunderstorm warning. So if you just go in here and just start 55, 45, 56, 54, 48. Now these are kind of pretty much farther away from the radar, but there's enough of them there. So, and like he was saying, talking about the radar being perpendicular, they can't always really get a true estimate of what the winds are via the radar. So that's why they went ahead with that considerable tag. So I'm going to zoom out just a minute here.
I'd also, Elijah, if you're in here, I know it sounds like I'm talking to myself, but could you pin the Facebook Live to the top of the page, if you wouldn't mind, Elijah? And make sure that it's at the top there for everyone coming in for us. But again, we don't have a this tornado warning is going to expire at 2:30. I'm sure it'll be allowed to expire a little bit quicker here. But our main risk, I think, at least in the short term, going forward, is definitely going to be the 60 plus mile per hour winds. And you can actually see it fairly well here from a reflectivity view, where you almost have a little Boeing action kind of getting going here from just south of Chapel Hill and down into Lewisburg and Cornersville as well. And I'm going to see how fast this thunderstorm is moving. So it's moving at 50 miles an hour. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this out at 50 miles an hour, and that'll bring it to around Shelbyville, and then we'll do the rank up to 2. So, or no, I guess that didn't work. Hold on. 2. Okay. So we're talking about Cornersville at 217, Lewisburg at 217, Shelbyville at 237. Okay. And this doesn't even include places further off towards the east. We're talking about Wartrace. We're probably thinking around 245, 250. Yeah. And then Normandy, we're talking closer to 3 o'clock before it gets to you. Okay. So, we have a lot going on right now over the area here, especially from, we're talking about Columbia, Murray County into southern Marshall County, and then a good portion of Bedford County as well here. Absolutely. And don't let this confuse you with the activity that's going on across the county line here, because there is some rain ongoing in the severe thunderstorm warning polygon right now. But again, the worst of the storm here is definitely off to the west, right here, a lot from Bryant Station down to Linville. Absolutely, yeah. And it'll be coming into to Lewisburg and Cornersville here very, very soon.
And you can see just how the storm is interacting with the wind shear. It does have that bowing look, but you can see just how many little hooks and what I like to call undulations here, where it's not just straight linear, a straight line. So that's telling you that the storm is interacting with an environment that has a lot of wind shear, a lot of wind speed here. And so probably what's helped boosting some of this wind as we saw it. So I'm going to go back over to, we're Huntsville now. So I'm going to go back to the velocity, and you can see it right there. Basically anywhere in that bright green. That's the easiest way to remember it. If the bright green is coming your way, you definitely need to take notice here. So I'll kind of zoom out so you can see the whole watch box. So just to put it in reference, about 25 minutes till it gets to Shelbyville. Okay. And then parts of that, probably the next 10 to 15 minutes as he's already read off. So it's actually picked up a little bit of speed. And sometimes you can have that when it interacts with that environment. It wants to tend to push it. There's a lot of wind on the backside of this that maybe help pushing this storm forward. And so that looks to be kind of like the meanest part of any of the storm right now. That tornado warning goes to 2:30, but really
that.
Okay, because I was thinking there's really, even if I go back to OHX and go to storm alert, it's really that part is actually out of the warning.
And it seems like it's kind of broadened out, a lot too over the past.
It has broadened out quite a bit.
And one thing else I wanted to mention here, Chris, I've been looking at some mesoscale analysis here on the side, and we've actually had the Shelbyville airport is now up to a 63-degree dew point. It was sitting at around 58 when we arrived here at the office just a little while ago, but now it's up to 63. So kind of my general rule of thumb for severe weather, you have to usually have a dew point above 60 to have severe weather. That means that you're fairly moist in the lower levels for, storms to translate their energy down to the surface. Now, sometimes there are, certain parts that, there's outliers for everything, right? Obviously. Sure. But usually that's what we see. So when we have a severe thunderstorm, or when we have, dew points up to 60 degrees plus, I start to take notice a little bit more and start, I'm edging up on the edge of my seat a little bit more. But obviously, at this point, it does look like the main threat here is going to be 60 plus mile per hour winds, and that's actually coming right into Marshall County right now or right along the 431 corridor is what it looks like right now, and then it's coming along the I-65 corridor as well. And there does seem to be still a little bit of rotation here potentially. That kind of has. That seems to have gotten a little bit more robust there in the last scan. I don't know if that's an artifact or not, but there's still a little bit of rotation with this. We'll be watching, and there is a tornado possible tag with this tornado warning. So, with this severe thunderstorm warning, excuse me. So, that's something we'll have to keep in mind. And then up here in Chapel Hill, you better get ready for some late night boomers here. We're talking about 43 strikes just in this area. I mean, we're talking about just this little 10 by 10 square with 41 strikes in the past 15 minutes. So it's about to get loud for everybody. It don't matter if you're inside the severe thunderstorm warning or not. We're going to get a lot of lightning, and it's going to get fairly noisy here. So just get ready for that. And I do believe that, is this severe thunderstorm? I think that's the same one, but yes. Mount Pleasant's getting hit again here with some of the hail.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of
they're getting in on some of the hail again there. But obviously the main concern here is it moves a little bit further west is going to be into Marshall County from Lewisburg down to Cornersville. And I'm going to pull in
I'm going to do this for just a second.
Yes.
I caught the Moore County storm here, just at the corner of it, and it is really intensified here, not to the point where they have any kind of special weather statement, but it just caught my eye. I looked down there and said, oh, I see Moore County down here, because this did not look like that. It's probably got a little bit of hail in it, nothing that's warranting a severe thunderstorm warning right now, but western portions there of Moore County. I just want to note that, because I know we've got a lot of Moore County folks that watch us as well. But the main concern obviously is going to be that straight line threat. So basically, here it is. There it was. There it is right there. And so it's that leading edge of these storms producing that really strong wind. And man, this thing, Mount Pleasant, poor Mount Pleasant, you're getting pelted again, because this storm, what's happening is this storm is feeding in all of this air down here that's been really untapped to the south, and it's looked like this for quite a while. And so it's just going to be interesting as they still have that severe thunderstorm warning down there for Giles. If some of these parts right here, they get hit, that could train back over the same part and hit them again, kind of like what's happened to Mount Pleasant, right? You get poor guys have been smabbered there. So that was just something to look at. I'll go back over here to velocity. So there it is. There's that leading line. That line kind of matched up with what I was just drawing a second ago, just to show you guys where really the bulk of it is. And so basically, it's just a lot of people used to ask me, when's it going to get to my area? How long is that going to last? Well, typically when this line goes through, you're going to see that wind, what's causing the severe thunderstorm warning. It's going to be the first thing that you get right on the influx of that storm. Then you're going to get a ton of rain. You may get some hail on the backside of it, but that's not the part that's warranting the severe thunderstorm warning. So the worst part of it is on the onset, not the outset. So this is something to think about. So if you're basically west of Lewisburg, you guys have already had this happen. I-65, unless it's right down there at the very tail end of Marshall County, they've not seen it yet, but I-65 has already seen the bulk of this.
If you wouldn't mind, just stay off there for a second, and I will try to pull up the Cornersville camera here.
Perfect.
Now it will take me a moment to get this loaded in, so bear with me just a second. Let Chris get some water. He's been
Sundrop. It's
Sundrop. That's a Tullahoma.
Yes, that's a Tullahoma thing.
Yes,
right?
That's a Tullahoma favorite. There is the Sundrop. So let me see here with the. So here's the Lewisburg camera. And you could see it's a lot of rain, or a lot of rain and lightning. Obviously, we're not seeing very much wind yet because that leading edge hasn't got into Lewisburg just quite yet. But there's a lot of lightning and a lot of rain, and we need the rain, obviously. So There's just something to keep in mind with this as we continue to go forward in time. That it's going to start to rain a little bit before the strongest winds actually get to you here. And let's zoom in. We'll zoom in down into Lewisburg here.
Yeah.
So here's the worst of the storm, and we can do the velocity data, and you can see how the wind is kind of lagging behind just a tad. But you could see that 60. We're getting some 60-mile-per-hour gusts here showing up on the radar. Now it's a little bit less up a little bit further north you go, but definitely here from Cornersville to Lewisburg, seeing some of those higher gusts, maybe upwards of 50 to 60 miles per hour. And now I'm seeing a lot of folks here comment that there a lot of lightning up here in Chapel Hill and over towards Unionville as well. There absolutely is. We're 48 strikes in this little small area. In the past 15 minutes, just in that little circle there.
It's probably the most electric we've seen storms in quite a while, actually.
Yes, absolutely. So anyway, as these storms continue to push off, remember that we're talking about very electrical thunderstorms, and it's going to wake a couple folks up. I expect that 600 mark to keep on climbing as more people get awoken to these storms coming through. So anyway, we're watching this still, and it looks fairly stout. I mean, I think we're at least having gusts of 60, pretty easily. Absolutely. There. And again, we're still dealing with rain, even like up here around Beech Grove and Fudge Around up here in far northwestern Coffee County, dealing with some rain. And then we also have a pretty stout little thunderstorm there just north of Lynchburg there along State Route 129.
It's 129.
Yes, 129 there.
Going out to Boonville.
So anyway, we're kind of watching a lot of stuff here, and look off to the west. We're not done, folks. We're not done. I mean, we have a lot more to get through, and actually, Chris, I want to talk about this. There's a new severe thunderstorm warning for northern Murray County.
Extreme northern,
all right. So this is it's 2:30 in the morning or 2:22 in the morning, folks. Okay, so we're getting into the time. This is around the time frame that we had been talking about leading up to this event that we would be, really honing in on for the strongest severe thunderstorms. We have some of this activity out ahead that is kind of overperformed. I'll be honest. This is pretty stout stuff.
Yeah.
But we have our main line too, which is our main cluster of storms that we were expecting. Mm-hmm. That'll be shifting off towards the south and east too over the next little bit, and that's where we have the severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect here just north of Santa Fe over towards New Hope and Spring Hill, right along the State Route 396 Saturn Parkway area.
Yep.
So, we have two separate severe thunderstorm warnings going on here. So we're going to be, kind of flipping back and forth as the storm impacting northern Murray County gets a little bit closer. But obviously, we're going to be, honing in, especially on this storm that's coming through Chapel Hill, Lewisburg, and Cornersville right now, and moving into Bedford County, because that's where a core of our audience lives, obviously. So we want to make sure that we serve them the best as possible as these storms come through, even at at 2:23 in the morning, we had to do our best. And
that's right.
I will say the wind gusts here on now, I don't have any readings here, but it does look to be a little gusty.
Oh yeah.
This is from the Lewisburg or Murray or Marshall County EMA. Excuse me. And I'm going to have little slip ups here. I mean, like I said, it's 2:00 in the morning. It's just kind of stuff that's going to happen here. But you can see it's fairly impressive thunderstorm moving through. A lot of rain. That's good though. That's good. We need the rain, but we could do without the damaging winds.
Absolutely. And so yes, exactly. You see that leading line now has kind of moved past Lewisburg, past Cornersville, getting ready to really, parts are now just crossing over in, getting close to here, the Bedford County line. I did want to note that Port Columbia, you must be like the 7-10 split in bowling, because you have a warning to your north and a warning to your south, but never included you. So maybe a good thing. You did get some good rain out of this. And so, this line, again, we want to just go back and just keep checking that velocity. Make sure I'm Huntsville velocity. There we go. And so you're still seeing some of those bright greens again, just to kind of put some eyeballs on it. 46, 48, 55. So a couple of these spots in here may reach those severe limits. And so I will say, just for right now, not to get our hopes up, it's when they issued that warning, we were seeing a lot faster readings. And so maybe this storm will weaken as it moves over to the east. And remember what Elijah said, look what it crossed, I-65. And we had been looking at days from a lot of model data that said pretty much once you got past 65, the Cape values dropped significantly. And so maybe we'll start to see storms die out. Let's cross our fingers. We do want the rain. We still want that, but we could do without the severe stuff, trust me. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. Not as impressive as it was. Still right there at that severe threshold limit. We'll just have to see if these storms decide to pulse back up. Remember that Marshall and Bedford County are both still in that tornado watch. So obviously the Storm Prediction Center and the National Weather Service thought there was enough energy in this atmosphere and enough instability for these storms to continue to stay strong and severe as they trek to the east. So we'll just have to keep monitoring this.
So I want to zoom out a little bit here because I'm getting a lot of whatabouts. You know, that happens a lot when we have a lot of different storms going on everywhere. So I want to be clear here. Coffee, Grundy, Moore, and Franklin counties, no warnings in effect for you.
No.
None. So right now we have a few scattered thunderstorms that are moving through. A pretty nice one coming up 55 right into Tullahoma.
Woods, yeah.
But you know, we're not dealing with any severe weather at this time. But our main concern here is inside this yellow box, okay? And let's do another storm track on it because it's been a couple minutes here since we've done one, and we said 50. I think
it was 50.
So let me do the thing again where I can go down. I need to change this on a day that's not today to make it a little bit better. But let's go up to 2 here. So we have the Shelbyville Airport at 2:36, Shelbyville at 2:38, Bell Buckle at 2:41, and War Trace at 2:44. Okay, so kind of pick out your town where you're at. So if you're in Normandy, I would say probably close to 250, right? If you're in a Wheel, it's coming into you right now.
Yeah.
Okay. If you are in El Bethel, we're talking about maybe a couple minutes before Shelbyville. Okay, so just keep that in mind. If we aren't talking about your area right now, that's a good thing.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
So, you know, if we're not mentioning Franklin County, if we're not mentioning, you know, any of your areas right now, that's a good thing. That's something that you should be proud of, right? But, you know, as these storms continue to trek off towards the east, we'll have to watch them closely. Now, I'll also note, Chris, you know, you were talking about a minute ago that the velocity data has kind of fallen off on these storms. It also looks like the reflectivity is kind of it's still, you know, a lot of heavy rain, right? But we're not looking at really the stout updrafts we were seeing earlier. So
I'll tell you something too that I've noticed in the past couple of scans. Notice your lightning strikes. I mean, we still have some lightning, but it wasn't in the hundreds, almost 200s, as it was about 30 to 40 minutes ago. And so those are classic signs.
This is not in our area, but I did want to mention that there is a tornado warning up here in Hendersonville, Gallatin, Greenbrier, up in far northern Davidson County. So if you know, that's a very populated area. If you have any family that lives up in that area, Gallatin, Hendersonville, Greenbrier, down into Goodlettsville as well, and there it is. I mean, that's a stout circulation. But
that's probably, I was going to hit debris just to see what it was going to do. It didn't show anything right now. But velocity, we'll go back here.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll go back down to our thunderstorms here. That's just, you know, I'm sure the Nashville stations are talking all about that right now.
Sure they are.
But, you know, down here for us, we're going to be talking about the severe thunderstorm. But that's just a note for you. If you were, you know, if you have any family up there, just be aware of that. But for us here locally, Unionville getting hit right now. Wheel getting hit right now. Petersburg about to get hit here any moment. Okay. 60 mile per hour winds. 60 mile per hour winds, and the potential for some maybe pea-sized hail. I think the tornado risk has come down, at least for the time being.
Absolutely.
And it's very messy.
It is super messy right now.
Yeah, it's very messy at this point, and honestly, I mean the wind data doesn't look overly impressive. Like we're
No.
seeing, maybe some gusts upwards of 50 to 55 here, but nothing near as impressive as we were seeing just on the other side, near Colioca and stuff. But that being said, this is still a very stout thunderstorm, and you need to be indoors and away from windows, right? You don't want to be sitting out on the porch watching the storm roll by here. You want to be sure that you're indoors and away from windows.
Well, and something is interesting as I'm looking at this storm over here. It kind of serves as a proxy of what the environment is doing over here. And I've watched this storm kind of pulse up and intensify, but it's just kind of stagnant. That could be a good sign moving forward. So it's always been down here where I could see it, also where you guys couldn't see it. I was blocking you, but I've just kind of been watching this storm to see how much it actually it grows and intensifies. It's got a couple of lightning strikes, but nothing super impressive. Tells me as these storms move over into this environment, they may not strengthen. And so that may be a good sign. It's just something that I was just looking at just to say, hey, that could be the indication of what happens to them. Now, these things might pulse in Hendersonville. Oh, gracious.
And I guess I should come on here with my microphone, but the tornado warning up there just north of Nashville is now confirmed on the ground heading towards Hendersonville. Just by the way, I'm keeping an eye on stuff, and even though we're Southern Tennessee weather, if there's some really bad storms going on elsewhere, I like to just make sure everyone is aware of that. But I really think, Chris, that the worst wind is going to be right there just south of Cornersville.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, go ahead and circle it there.
Yeah, that's exactly right there between Cornersville and 431.
Yeah,
right in that corridor.
And that'll be coming, like Petersburg is right here. It doesn't show up on the map because it's so tiny, but it's just on. And maybe if I hold on. Maybe if I zoom down
those
here.
Are my people,
so Petersburg right here, we have the strongest winds are going to be moving into your area. Maybe 50 to 60 mile per hour winds will be possible. But a lot of people are asking in the chat, is there any tornado risk for here locally? Anything like that? I don't. There's nothing really pertinent right this moment that would make me believe that there's a tornado imminent for Bedford County or Murray County or Marshall County.
It seems to be, again, like you said, that tornado threat really, once storms cross over 65, there's just not enough instability to keep the strong updrafts, to keep storms rotating. And so that's what we're noticing. It's a general weakness away from over here. We were talking tornado warnings to Colioca and places over here in Linville. And then as we track to the east, it comes more of a straight line wind threat. And even at that, just looking at some of these returns on radar, I mean, they're gusty, no joke. I mean, a 47 mile an hour wind gust is enough to knock down a tree for sure. But it's really getting almost below, because just in this area alone, right over here, we were seeing values of 67, almost 70 miles an hour, which prompted that considerable tag on the severe thunderstorm warning. So again, we're just looking at a severe thunderstorm warning, a big severe thunderstorm warning of a large area here, covering Marshall County and Bedford counties. It's really passing the 431 corridor. Like I said, really my most concern would be this area right here as it moves over to the east. So it may clip Shelbyville proper right there, may just go south of it on 231, but we'll just have to wait and see.
I'm going to look at the power outage map. I'm going to pull it up here on the screen so everybody can see it from Duck River Electric. And we'll see here. Sorry, my phone is buzzing. So they did put out a TMU's severe thunderstorm warning for that, or special weather.
Oh, did they?
Just on the outside of Tullahoma there.
Okay.
So anyway, let's look at the outage map fairly quickly here. And this is from Duck River Electric. So obviously this is only counting, Duck River Electric customers, but we do have over 1,000 without power here. And let me switch over to the computer. You could see that we have some power outages up to 1,000 people, customers without power in the Hampshire area, and then just scattered outages elsewhere. So this kind of confirms to me that some of the stronger wind gusts may have, they're not really reaching the ground because
Right.
we'd probably be seeing a lot more damaging winds.
Right. Do we have any LSRs
and,
storm reports?
Not for our area in particular. They are just across the Lawrence County line there. But anyway, let me go back to the TV and webcam view here so that we can get back to rolling there on your end, Chris.
Absolutely. Let's since these, not that I want to take a real quick look. Let's see here. Come on, Christopher. And I want to go back over here. You said, okay, so they did. They went ahead and issued that special weather statement, didn't they?
That was for that little cell coming over to Oklahoma.
No. Well, what it is, it's the very tail end of this line. Again, sometimes when we're trying to fight for space, typically the southernmost part of the storm has the free access to the warmer wind, the inflow, to keep that storm going. You need warm, moist air to pump into these storms to keep them going. That's why Elijah a minute ago was talking about a dew point of 60 kind of as a threshold for us. And so that is going to include basically all of Lynchburg, right to where basically 50, right there at Jack, where it goes into Lincoln County, right there where the barrel houses are, right off 50, and going all the way up into all of the rest of Moore County. And this is basically going to be for parts of Franklin County, Timsford Lake north. It's going to just clip Winchester. It will include Deckard, Estill Springs, 41A as you're going back up into Tullahoma. And so that is a special weather statement. So again, we're just going to keep an eye on things. Let's go back real quick. Let's look at some velocity data to see what's going on here. Still kind of that same vibe, which if you think about it, for them just to issue the Huntsville office, just to issue that special weather statement because of the winds tells me that these winds are actually dying out. That's a good sign. That's a great sign, especially as it's 2:36 in the morning and we kind of get a little anxious with severe weather and storms and whatnot. And so I'll kind of zoom in here and kind of check these wind speeds again and see if they're kind of at that same threshold. They're still at that same threshold. It'll be interesting to see. I know right now, if the National Weather Service office, they are probably really have eyes on the ground in Hendersonville. Not to say that you guys don't get left out, but it'd be interesting to see if they continue with this severe thunderstorm warning. It's not really at thunderstorm warning limits according to what radar is showing right now, which is a great thing. But Shelbyville, it's going to be coming to you guys here very soon. I can't do the linear storm track on it. That's something he has to do. But what I can do is I can just get this part right here, and it was going at 50. And so can give you some ideas of some places that may see the strongest of the winds. Let me take the lightning strikes off. So Branchville at 239, Hawthorne at 246, Flat Creek 253, County Line is 256, Bottle Hollow, I know exactly where that's at, 256, Hilltop 256, Lynchburg proper be 256, Pleasant Hill 259, and parts of that will actually get into the Tullahoma area as well. We'll just have to see what the National Weather Service wants to do. I was just saying that these winds have died down to the point where I feel like that's why they warranted that special weather statement right here. And so what leads to be that part of the storm is also here. I know that probably the National Weather Service has their hands full with Hendersonville right now, as they should. That's where that. I mean, if you've got a tornado on the ground in a highly populated area, that's definitely a concern. So again, going back and looking at these the numbers as far as velocity, wind speeds are concerned, I mean, we're really just at 45 mile an hour gusts. We're almost really to a special weather statement territory, to be honest with you.
So I wanted to jump in here real quick.
Go ahead.
And so I'm looking at the comments here, and a lot of folks are asking, well, what about Lewisburg and the places that have already seen the storms? So if you're in Lewisburg, the worst of the thunderstorm has actually left your area.
Yes.
I mean, it's not. We're not really worried about Lewisburg as it relates to the severe thunderstorm, right? But there is a lot of heavy rainfall coming back into Lewisburg, and there's a lot more to get through because we have all this fun stuff off to the west that still needs to come through. So, over the next little bit here, We're going to keep on watching that stuff very closely. But for us here locally, the worst of the storm has exited Chapel Hill and Lewisburg and Columbia as well, but all the way down here into Unionville and Rover as well. Mm-hmm. The worst of the storm has come past you, okay? So right now, the focal point for the worst of the storm is going to be Bell Buckle, War Trace, Shelbyville, down to Pleasant Grove, mm-hmm. and going into Flat Creek and Ross and places like that over the next little bit. Yep. But like we were saying, we think that this storm has weakened pretty significantly over the past little bit. And, like we've been forecasting over the past few days, these storms are likely going to weaken the further east that they go. Now, there's no imminent tornado threat like we were talking about. There's not really any rotation within these thunderstorms here. It's just a lot of heavy rainfall and just a little bit of wind. So again, if you're in Marshall County and if you're in Murray County, you're in the clear from this particular severe thunderstorm warning, but we have more to come. Okay. So, I'm not giving an all clear to everybody. Okay. This is not all clear to everybody. And this is not an all clear for the people that have already seen rain, because we have more rain coming. All right. More is coming. So, it's just something we're going to have to monitor. Thankfully, right now, none of these storms down here are severe warned. But and speaking of severe warned, the worst of the storm is about to come into to Murray County.
Let me go ahead real quick while I didn't mean to touch that. Go over here. Touch this. Touch that.
Hold on.
Get rid of it.
Hold on. It's 2:41 in the morning here. Okay.
All right. There we go. So that would be OHX velocity, and I'm just trying to see what kind of wind speeds that they've got.
That's perpendicular to the.
Yeah. So you're not. We can hear the rain falling now. And Hunts Vegas is a little far away here too, to be quite honest with you, because this is really far up in the atmosphere. Because you're looking at there's a 70 mile an hour reading right there. But again, that's really far away from the radar, which would have stronger wind speeds. That's typically what you would have in situations like this, that low level jet that's been coming in, pumping 70 mile an hour winds. So it's really not indicative, but it looks like even the worst of that, if I'm being quite honest, if you look at this particular line right here, let me kind of get it more in view for you. And then look right here, it pretty much doesn't even clip Maury County. It actually may go to the north. If I'm trying to look at where the worst of the velocity, the wind speed would be, it's going to be up here just south of Fairview, which is out of our viewing area. But even that part of Maury County that's included, that very extreme northern part there, it doesn't look like that wind may get to you. So if we've got people in Spring Hill, this looks like this may take more of a Franklin trek than a Spring Hill trek currently.
Yes. So that's a good point there with that severe thunderstorm warning in northern Murray County. So we'll come back to that as needed. We'll keep on checking up there on our Spring Hill folks, but for the time being, we're going to come down here into
this part
the
is
worst.
Intensified down toward the bottom.
Yes, it has. Let's see if the velocity data
supports it. Not really.
No. Not very much there.
And Huntsville's getting a good look at that. Radar's getting a good look.
Yes, it's getting a very good look there. So, we still have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect, right? So, if you're in Shelbyville, if you're in Bell Buckle, if you're in War Trace, down to Flat Creek and Normandy, you're about to get some heavy rainfall here momentarily. Okay, we're talking about, probably maybe some gusty winds of 40, 50 miles an hour. But in terms of widespread severe wind gusts or anything like that, I don't personally see. And they just canceled the severe thunderstorm warning there for Bedford and Marshall County. So on cue, as I was talking about, the winds have died down and we're now in the 40 to 50 mile per hour zone. They decided to cancel the warning here. So, and you could see that well. I mean, when we were zoomed in here earlier on Chapel Hill, we were in the same portion of the storm. We were getting some 50 to 60 mile per hour.
Absolutely.
Or not, but 60 or 70,
there was 70.
strikes, you know. But now we're getting down into the 40s. But one thing I did want to note here is we're getting a lot of rain. There's a pretty good amount of rain, and this is very much needed. I'm glad to see it fall.
Yes.
But Columbia's already approaching an inch here. Mount Pleasant's already at 1.25 inches. And then we have up here near Chapel Hill coming up on an inch fairly quickly. Christiana already at an inch. So as these storms, because we have a lot of storms to get through, folks, we're not done now. In terms of the severe weather threat, we'll just have to wait and see. But in terms of just good old fashioned late night boomers or early morning boomers, we're going to have plenty of them.
Yes.
You know, as we head deeper into the morning hours. So in terms of what's going on right now, there is a severe thunderstorm warning in northern Murray County, but at this time, there are no severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for anywhere else in our area. So, you know, we have some, like I said, we have some gusty winds coming through, and we can do a storm track here and go out another, let's do it a different way, because we hadn't done it this way yet tonight. And I think this is the time of arrival. And we'll do 55 miles per hour here, and we'll do the time of arrivals here. So as the brunt of the storm comes in, we're going to look here in Coffee County first, okay? So we're talking about Manchester. This heavy rain and stormage will be to you at right around 3 o'clock, okay? Morrison, we're talking about 3:04. Summitville, 3 o'clock on the nose, right? Down here towards Hillsborough, we're talking about 3:08. Tullahoma, we're talking right at 3 o'clock. So pretty much everywhere in Coffee County, at least the most populated area, is going to be fairly close to 3 o'clock. Now, down here towards Lynchburg, we're talking right at 3 o'clock. Right at 3 o'clock there for Lynchburg. And then a little bit further towards the east here.
3 o'clock? No, dang.
Not 3 o'clock. We're talking a little bit closer to 3:15 there for you there in Estill Springs along 41A. So anyway, really the strongest part of this storm is the part that's in northern Lincoln and Moore and Franklin County. But you know, I don't see any imminent severe weather threat at this current moment, but that can quickly change because this is untapped. This is an untapped area. Hadn't really seen much precipitation so far this evening, but in terms of severe weather or severe thunderstorm warning in Bedford County, right? In Marshall County, we're done for right now, okay? But we still have to get through the storms off to the west. We have a lot more rain to get through. This is really the first bit of rain, right? That we're getting through right now. So again, if you're in Shelbyville, just kind of some heavy rainfall and some nice gusty winds and some nice thunder and lightning. And that's why we have 650 people on for no severe thunderstorm warnings right now. So, I mean, I think that's pretty good.
They like to listen to us talk.
Yes, they do. They do. I don't know how y'all do it because I don't like listening to myself much. So, Paulie just said Matchbox 20 did say it would be 3 a.m.
Hey, that's my kind of people right there. I was listening to Matchbox 20 on the way in, so there you go.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So anyway, you know, when the storms start to die down a little bit, we can have a little bit of fun here. But let's zoom in here on this northern severe thunderstorm warning because we do. That's why we're live here right now for severe thunderstorm warnings, and we do have a warning currently in effect here. But again, this is really in a bad spot.
Yeah, let me go radar for just a second so I can see. I think it is that leading edge of this line right here. You know what? But Huntsville, I'll go there so you can see it. It's right on the edge of the radar ring, so I don't think you're going to have to probably.
I tried to look at the TBNA radar from Radar Scope 2, and it's not. It's not showing much. It is showing, you know, some 60 to 70 mile per hour winds in Williamson County, but further south, it's not near as impressive. But again, it's the way that the radar is oriented. It's really hard to get a good reading on, you know, the exact winds and the thunderstorms. So.
Yeah, because the radar is up basically near Hendersonville, so it's almost running at this point. It's almost running parallel to that line, and so it's hard to get a good reading from it in its current state. It's just a bad area. That's why we try to look at Huntsville to get another look at it to see if we can see something. So
And again, we have the tornado watch that is still in effect for Marshall, Murray, and Bedford County. Okay, that tornado watch is still in effect. But, just looking at the big picture here, if we just hit the home button there.
There we go.
What I see here, looking at the home, looking just at the whole entire area, which is kind of hard to see on the TV just because of how much activity, how much rain is going on. But this is good for me to see. I like to see, the widespread rain, heavier pockets of rain and stuff. This is good news, right? And we still have some lightning, 195 or 197 strikes in the past 15 minutes just in this whole area. But in terms of severe weather, that's kind of all towards the north there.
I'm gonna step off screen because one thing that I'm we'll probably be talking about is tomorrow's setup. And so my brain went, hey, I wonder if the Storm Prediction Center has put anything out while we've been here.
Yes.
They typically do. So.
And let's go back and look here. I'm going to look at the rainfall totals over the past 3 hours. So this is, if we do 12 hours, it'll be about the same. So let's do the past 3 hours here, and it's absolutely pouring here at the Duck River Electric Weather Center right now. Absolutely pouring. But you can see fairly well these green shadings here. That's going to be some of the where we're seeing upwards of an inch, maybe approaching an inch and a half in a few areas off in Lewis County. Up to 2 inches of rain has fallen there already. But as this continues to push off towards the east, we're all going to get a beneficial rain out of this. So there's no tornado in Lewisburg right now. I don't know who is saying that, but there's not even a warning for Lewisburg at this time. The reason that we're live is for a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for far northern Murray County. And this would just literally be like along the Natchez Trace in the Fly community and Bethel and Theta and Jameson over towards Spring Hill as well, maybe seeing wind gusts upwards of 60 miles per hour there in those areas. But other than that, we're just dealing with a lot of heavy rain across the area.
Yeah, that's really the tale of the story right now. The precious rain that we need. Some good news for once, right? Because Lord knows we need all of this rain. So right now, I can go back up here and look at one little section here because we do have folks in this viewing area. So want to make sure that we kind of tailor to them and kind of let's see here. Let me kind of zoom in a little more. Oops, that's not the right one. It's this one I want. This one. All right. So really, it's in. Just probably, if I'm looking at winds here from OHX, it's still not, again, we're looking, let's try it from Huntsville.
Okay. I want to bring something else up.
Okay.
There's a lot of people asking, can I go to sleep here? Can I go to sleep here? And I've always told people this as long as I've ran this page. I can't tell you what to do, but I can give you some good advice on what I would do.
Yeah.
And in this current state, the way that I see things currently, I wouldn't be opposed to going ahead and going to bed, especially if you're in Bedford, Marshall, and Murray County. We may have another severe thunderstorm warning, but the atmosphere is fairly worked over. But it depends on your tolerance level. If you are more anxious during severe weather situations, and this might be a time where you're going to stick with us a little bit longer just to, make sure that we get through this together, right? But, in terms of like the major tornadic threat and anything like that, our window for that is rapidly closing, especially the further west you go, just because we're getting a lot of rain right now. And I think that's a good assessment at this point. But as always, there's there can be crazy stuff that happens. This is the atmosphere. This is Mother Nature. That's how stuff works sometimes. So, we'll have to keep in mind. We'll have to keep watching stuff over the next little bit. But if you are an anxious person, if that's just the way that you, the way that you are about storms and stuff like that, I'm an anxious person on stuff outside of storms sometimes. So, I definitely understand where you're coming from. So, just stick with us a little bit longer and we'll get you through it. But, otherwise, if you're if you need to go to bed because you got to get up at 5 o'clock and get ready for work, then like Christopher probably would be doing, then then you had to do the thing that's best for you. So,
This is a good time to say, guys, if you don't have an all-weather radio, you should get one. I tell people, this is what I tell people: if you've got a way to wake you up in the middle of the night, if a warning was issued, then go to bed. Have your plan in place when you go to bed. Wake it up. If that thing goes off, you make sure you have our app, or you connect to us, and we're going to walk you through every step of the way, and then you can go back to bed. So I am a person that has right now. I mean, it's not going off at my house right now because we haven't had any warnings, but it's woke me up in the middle of the night. It's the most annoying thing ever, but I'm telling you, it does its job. And I'm the one I told people when we were at Ace Hardware, I've had that thing for 20 years and it hadn't failed me yet. So that's my advice. Everybody does have different tolerance levels. Right now, honestly, everything is strong. Got a lot of rain, maybe a little bit of hail, but nothing's reaching severe limits, really. We've got this part, the strongest part that we're looking at right now would be this, what I was just looking at, that's just inching over into Moore County right now. That line is pretty much over here in Maury County. It's pretty much past Spring Hill right now and is moving off to the east. So the part that's really the most severe is kind of north of that area. So really the target focus that is even severe thunderstorm warning at this point is Moore and then into Franklin counties. And so it'll be coming your way soon. Looking from Huntsville and trying to figure out some values, it's just really messy right now to try to get any values. But if I were to get some stuff, it'd probably be in the 30 to 35 mile an hour range, which would be perfect criteria for a special weather statement. So basically right there at 55 in Lynchburg, as you're going, getting ready to go up Flat Creek, up to Dillingham Hill as you're making the turn to go up toward Motlow. That's where the strongest part is. And then, of course, 129 Boonville, it's getting ready to cross and come over 129 Lynchburg. You're going to see this in just a few minutes come your way. And then it starts making that trek across over to Ridgeville. The very extreme portions of Timms Ford Lake on the west side. You got Loyce. Kelso will be down here eventually. Liberty Hill, those areas, it'll be coming your way. But really, that line stops right at Loyce and Bakertown and then up north. And so, again, I would think at this point, if the National Weather Service would have wanted to issue something for Coffee County, they would have already done it by now, because this storm is well into Coffee County at this point. It's almost plumb near to Manchester now, and I do see a little bowing right there. I'm going to just go to velocity just for a second. Man, it is really just convoluted today. I can't really, not anything to really look. There's not really, it's like there's not really anything to look at right there. And so, but even at that, it's not anything that's even warranted a special weather statement. So, you're going to get some rumbles of thunder. You're going to get some heavy rain. If you're one of those people that have missed that and you've had to have a sound machine to give it to you, you can turn it off and let Mother Nature give it to you for a little while. But yeah, that's really, like I said, this is the focus. And like I said, it's Lynchburg. It's going to be coming to you very soon. It's going to cross over there into portions of Center Grove, down the 130 corridor as you go into Estill Springs. Here within the next, I can do a little trek on it. What was it, 50 miles an hour? Yep. I'm going to have to zoom out. Let's try that again. And so you can see some of the areas right over there. So Raysville, 301, Turkey Creek, 305, Oak Park, Tullahoma, that's 308. Winchester Springs, 312, right there, Eastbrook, Estill Springs area. 313, Taylor Creek subdivision there, they're close to Estill, is 314. And then Estill Springs, obviously, is 314. So these storms are going to be coming in, maybe a little rumble of thunder, maybe just a little bit of hail in the strongest part of the storm, but it's not anything to worry about. Winds will just be gusty, if anything, and that's really what we're expecting moving forward here.
Yeah, and one interesting note here, the Weather Service has extended this severe thunderstorm warning off to our north. So pretty much all of Rutherford County, all the way down to the hill there just south of Christiana, is right there on the outskirts of Fosterville, is now included in a new severe thunderstorm warning. Comes all the way up to this little nub there at Fudge Around in Coffee County as well. But for us here locally, still no really big time severe weather concerns at this point. I mean, we have a lot of rain moving through. That's great. We need this rain very badly, very badly. So, we'll take any rain that we can get. And look at very electric storms. We're talking about, lightning strikes upwards of 300 in the past 15 minutes just in this little box of southern Middle Tennessee. So, as we go forward in time, over the next couple hours here, we're going to keep an eye on these storms. But personally, me, just using the meteorological knowledge that I have, is that with past events that we've had similar to this, usually after we get a few thunderstorms in the area, if we have a line that comes through afterwards, there's just not enough energy left for any severe weather.
And he's talking about, he's talking about this one, and this, and this. That's what he's talking about.
So, and a lot of folks are wondering about the school bus stop in the morning. And I can understand that because, we're getting close. In 3 hours, we'll have kids, actually in probably 2.5 hours, we'll have a couple kids be getting on the bus in a few of the rural areas. So, we're going to be dealing with rain. There's no doubt about that. If I go to the Nashville radar and move up here, you can see there's a lot of rain out behind this. So we're stratiform rain is what we call this, and we're going to be dealing with this for a couple hours in the morning. Okay, so we're likely going to be having some rain and maybe some rumbles of thunder here and there. But the severe weather threat, I think, will be done by the time we reach tomorrow morning when the kids about ready to get to the bus stop. But keep in mind that we're probably going to have some rain around and stuff like that. So Abby says that Lynchburg is getting lit up right now. Getting lit up.
Oh, yeah? It's lit down there.
Yeah, it's right there. There's Highway 55, and it's kind of riding right along Highway 55.
It's right at 55, and there's that really strong part that's back off as you're going to Booneville, and then portions of extreme north, now it's right over 55 with that latest scan. So if you are Highway 82 and north, like you're going back towards Tullahoma, you are definitely getting hammered with probably the strongest on radar in our area. That's probably the strongest precip that we see on radar right now.
Yes,
so
and I did want to mention one other thing here. I had a couple folks in Christiana. I know I have a lot of folks here on the county line that follow me. So sure. I try to make sure to keep my folks in Christiana informed about stuff like this. And there is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for like the northern portions of Christiana heading into Barfield, really. But over towards what would this be? Epps Mill Road. That's what I was trying to think. Yeah. It's 3:00 in the morning, folks. I apologize. Sometimes the road names don't come to me like they do at 2:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah, exactly right.
But anyway, I think the tornado threat is fairly low. Yes, but there's a severe thunderstorm warning, so take that as you will. But the tornado threat for the rest of the night is I like to use that fart noise sometimes, when we're dealing with the bad, it's not looking too impressive in the tornadic department, but we're still going to keep a close eye on stuff, and we may go to a period where we're not, just live on here if the warnings expire, but we'll come back on and jump in as needed, as we go deeper into the overnight hours, but I think for the most part, the main severe weather threat for this evening has pretty much come to a close. Besides whatever this is out here this is part of that advancing line that is coming in from the south and west, or the north and west. But you could see here just a lot of good rain.
Yes.
It's been a while since I've seen a radar image where everyone is getting moderate to heavy rain for the most part. You folks down in Franklin County are probably looking at us like we got three eyes right now because you hadn't seen jack squat yet, but you will later on in the morning. It's going to take some time, but be patient. I told some folks on Saturday that were up in arms about the rain not coming. The good things come to those who wait. Good
That's
things
right.
come to those who wait, and now it's finally paying off for us. All of our drought conditions and stuff we've had, we're finally starting to get some rain and stuff like that move through. So anyway, I'm just yapping about random stuff now.
Well, yeah, really, honestly, this storm right here that back here was tornado warned. It's worked the atmosphere. And so all that available energy that was here, it was the hungry kid that got to the table first. Okay. And so once that storm worked over this atmosphere, sure, you're going to get some rumbles of thunder, but I'm going to bet and the reason why this part up here is severe thunderstorm warning, if you'll remember, we had a line of storms that sat right there. And this has really been untapped atmosphere. It really hasn't taken much. Those storms try to take from the north, or take from the southerly flow, because that's the direction the wind was flowing from the low-level jet. But anyways, long story short, this has not been tapped into yet, whereas this part of the atmosphere has been worked over. So as strong as that look, and we also have to understand how far away from the radar that actually is. So when it looks like, oh my gosh, it's hailing everywhere, that's really high up in the storm. So that may not be indicative of what's happening closer to the ground. It just may be very heavy moisture and rain content up in the cloud, but that may not be indicative of what that storm would look like. If you copied and pasted over here closer to the radar, it would have a different look. And so that's really it. Do you want to talk a little bit about tomorrow? I can.
Yes. Let's
because we do have another severe weather threat tomorrow. Okay, so you're going to get to see us a lot, maybe.
Yeah, let me pull in now. You're going to see some weird stuff here momentarily, just because I've got to build the show out here. So you're seeing some behind the scenes stuff fairly quickly. But I do want to show you here what we have in terms of our severe weather threat for today,
because they updated it about 1:30.
Yeah, I want to say it's tomorrow, but it's actually today. But I will say, Chris, I did look at the 6Z HRRR, and it doesn't look all that impressive to me.
That's a good thing.
No, it really let me make sure that this actually goes out all the way to. Okay, so yeah, it does. So anyway. So starting off, this is our severe weather threat, of course. Yes, let me, what I'm going to do here is come back to just a regular webcam view for just a moment here. So we have a level 2 out of 5 slight risk that is in place from the Storm Prediction Center for tonight. Okay, so we're going to have to watch how the atmosphere is able to recover as we head into tomorrow morning, because the atmosphere is going to be very worked over. We have a lot of rain and storms around right now. So if we're able to get some breaks in the clouds, if we're able to see a little bit of sunshine tomorrow, is when I'm really going to be not necessarily concerned, but I'm going to be paying a little bit closer attention, right, to later on in the day. So let's go ahead and look at Futurecast. Now, this is very zoomed in, okay, and we can actually zoom it out just a tad here. So this is a current activity that is coming through right now. It's a little bit late, actually. So it has 4:30 a.m., the worst of the storms coming through Shelbyville. I think they'll be through in the next hour, so no later than 4 o'clock. And then we have some, it's going to be some light to moderate rainfall kind of sticking around through a good portion of the early morning hours until we get to 9, 10 o'clock. And here's where we had to watch. You see, with Futurecast, it has a few breaks in the clouds there trying to show up as we head towards Tuesday afternoon. So if that happens, the sun will be able to, probably heat up the atmosphere a little bit and get us primed for more severe weather. So let me zoom out even more here. I know I keep on zooming out, but you can see off to the west here, I mean, there's a pretty good complex of thunderstorms over, heading over towards Memphis and along the Mississippi River in northern Mississippi as we head towards 4 p.m. on Tuesday or later on today. But you'll see as they get closer, kind of break apart. I mean, it starts off fairly nice, and then it breaks apart as it gets closer, and then honestly we're just left with some moderate, maybe locally heavy rainfall by 9 o'clock p.m. on Tuesday. So that's the latest future cast. Now, this is just one model. There's a lot of different models that we use and everything like that. But, I think I put this in my post earlier. I don't remember if I did exactly, but I'm pretty sure that I posted, on social media earlier that the latest data I was seeing just wasn't very impressive, in terms of our severe weather threat. Now, we have a lot of juice in the atmosphere. We're going to have a pretty good amount of CAPE or storm energy, storm fuel in the atmosphere. But in terms of, a widespread severe weather threat, you aren't going to get it with light to moderate rainfall and 67 degrees on a Tuesday at 9 p.m. That's just not going to happen. But obviously, we'll have to check and see over the next little bit, just to keep an eye on stuff and see where we're at. But anyway, let's get back to the analysis tab here and see what's going on.
All right.
Because we're keeping an eye on these thunderstorms that are moving in. So we're going to start focusing back towards the west. Christopher, let me bring you back up there on the screen so that everybody can see you. So anyway, we're talking. We're really just looking at this portion of the storm specifically. Now, I want to look at the velocity data, and it does look like this storm is starting to perk up a little bit here, coming into Mount Pleasant yet again.
Yeah.
And let's look at. And now, again, this is further up in the atmosphere, right? This is not all the way down at the surface, but we can see wind gusts of maybe upwards of 60 miles an hour coming back into the same areas that just saw severe weather not even an hour and a half ago.
So let's go to OHX because I think that was it.
Oh, yes, that was high top.
That was high top, yeah, because I saw the range ring. I was like, that's right at the edge of their range.
Yeah, I do. There is some reports coming in. That there may be a little bit of rotation here, but I'm not seeing anything concrete. And again, this is in northern Lawrence County, so this is not technically in Murray County or any of our areas, but we're I'm keeping a close eye on stuff here just to see. But anyway, that's going to be something worth keeping an eye on. Maybe heading into the next couple minutes here. There's no severe thunderstorm warnings in effect or anything for that area. At least right now, but that's something we're going to have to keep in mind over the next little bit here. And a lot of rain, it's just rain everywhere else. just a lot of rain. I mean, you could see it there on the radar fairly well.
Yep, that's the forecast right now. Rain. That's it. That's the good thing. So I'll go back here and see, because I know we've got some folks down here where we still have that special weather statement here. I'll zoom out one little click. So Lynchburg, it's already passed right there. Oh, my old stomping grounds, right there on the Moore County, Franklin County line. And some of that heavy rain and some of those wind gusts will be moving into portions of western Franklin County, basically north of Timms Ford Lake. So that's the Center Grove area, specifically the Highway 130 corridor. All of my people's and my school is somewhere involved in that somewhere too, where I teach. So yeah, that's going to be trekking its way. Like I said, it was said about 314 for Estill Springs, if I remember correctly. It's 312. It hadn't quite reached there, so it's kind of slowed down a bit, which that's okay. It's Lynchburg and pretty much the upper half of Moore County is getting a deluge of rain right there in Tullahoma. Going right up Lincoln Street, it is pouring something great. And Highway 55 going up into Manchester. Just some really good rain right now. Just can't say it enough how much we needed all of this rain. We've been wanting it for a while, and we're finally getting it here. So again, there's the strongest part according to the National Weather Service. When does this thing end? 3:15. So we're going to see what happens if they allow this to expire, and we won't have really anything in the viewing area.
Actually, that severe thunderstorm warning in northern Murray County has been allowed to expire there. So we technically do not have any warnings currently in the area. I think I want to give this just a little bit longer here before we decide to cut away from coverage here for just a minute, because I think that there's a good chance that there are some stronger winds that are occurring in this portion of the line, coming right back into Mount Pleasant and Hampshire and places that have already seen some of the worst of the weather already tonight, about to get another round here. But a lot of folks are asking here in the chat room. We're talking about, Chapel Hill. There's some rain and some wind and the lightning and stuff, but I think the severe weather threat for Chapel Hill is fairly low for the rest of the evening.
Yeah.
And same thing for Shelbyville. I mean, the second line in Shelbyville, it's just something we're going to have to watch here near Mount Pleasant. This portion of the line, I don't know if it's going to make it all the way to Shelbyville, if it'll duck a little bit further south, but that's something we're just going to have to monitor over the next little bit here. But in terms of right this moment, just looking at the big picture, there are no severe thunderstorm warnings or any sort of warnings in effect for our area. So just take that as you will, right? We're entering a slower state, at least at this 3:15 a.m., but we're still watching this line off to the west, and it's fairly energetic too. I mean, we're talking about 105 strikes, 96 strikes. So there's starting to see an uptick in intensity again here coming into Mount Pleasant,
sure.
which is fairly impressive, if I do say so myself, considering that Mount Pleasant's already been
Mount
hit
Pleasant gets
twice.
The award tonight.
Yeah,
for probably getting pelted the most, but you're probably going to get the most rain out of this too. So you take it, the good with the bad, I guess. So yeah, I'm going to zoom back out for just a minute because I want to see. Yep, it is expired. They allowed that to expire down here, that special weather statement, and so my guys that are down there, you're just going to get some good, strong, good downpours there in Warren, Franklin counties. It's not anything that we really need to be concerned about. It's the rain that we've been wanting for a while.
Go ahead and check the rainfall totals over the past little bit here, because I'm thinking that we're probably approaching 2 inches there near Mount Pleasant with how much. Yeah, those yellow values are starting to sneak in there.
So Mount Pleasant is about 1 1/4. Yeah, Hold'em Lewis County, they're at 2.2 inches. And you can see a lot where these storms have kind of trained, specifically right there on the borders of Bedford County and Marshall County and Maury counties, where you see those values.
So we have a new severe thunderstorm warning that's just come out for Maury, Bedford, and Marshall County.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
So we have a new severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued. So this is for that line that we were just talking about, and that's why I didn't want to, get out of here too quick. Because we were watching that portion there. So anyway, this is kind of what we're looking at here. So who's included in this new severe thunderstorm warning that we now have in effect? So we're talking about just south of Columbia to Mount Pleasant to Colioca to Bryant Station to Lewisburg to Cornersville to Petersburg, and then also south of Shelbyville. So we're talking about Flat Creek. We're talking about Hymesville. We're talking about Wheel. We're talking about Pleasant Grove along State Route 130 there, okay? So there's a lot of folks that are now included in this severe thunderstorm warning, and this goes until 4 a.m. So we have another 45 minutes here as I rub my eyes as they're ready to shut. We're here at 4 o'clock in the morning. So anyway, we're going to get a good reading on this storm here. I'm actually going to go ahead and pull up very quickly the Mount Pleasant camera once again.
Yeah, so we can see what's going on.
So this will be the second time that we've used the Mount Pleasant camera this evening. Currently our camera is looking like directly into the storm.
Whoa, and, do you see that wind gust?
Yes.
74?
I don't know if that was with the prior storms or the one that is going on right now.
Holy
I'm not
cow.
sure. But, and you have to remember that this is also on a tower a little bit higher up, so it's going to get a little bit higher gusts than you would get at the surface, but not by much. I mean, It's not going to be by much. But, we also have a new TMU severe thunderstorm warning, or a special weather statement that has been issued for Bedford, Coffee, and pretty much the rest of the area that's not included in the severe thunderstorm warning. So
Gotcha.
I'm going to keep an eye on this over here on the side, and we'll go back and do a quick overview here. So yeah, I mean, it's basically everyone.
It's the northern half of that.
Yeah, everyone is under some sort of alert at this point, whether it's a severe thunderstorm warning or it's just a strong storm advisory. Okay,
Exactly.
is kind of what we're dealing with. What we're dealing with right now. So again, I think the worst of the storm right now, Chris, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm seeing right there at Mount Pleasant.
Well, it's where all the energy is for
Yeah,
sure.
there is a lot of lightning ongoing here at Mount Pleasant, and I'm still keeping an eye on the wind gusts that we're getting. We're up to around 40 miles an hour there on our tower camera at Mount Pleasant right now. So anyway, we're at them big time right now. So
Yeah, for sure.
again, we have a new severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect from Mount Pleasant to Columbia to Culleoka to Lewisburg to Pleasant Grove to Flat Creek in Bedford County, and then everywhere south of there. Okay, so this is kind of splits Shelbyville in half, kind of splits Columbia in half too. Right there at Farmington, where 41A and State Route 64 come together, kind of along and south of that line, where this yellow, you can kind of see the yellowish whitish box on the TV. There is kind of where we're watching for the worst of the weather that's coming through. And I mean, you can see obviously where the severe thunderstorm is.
Right here. It's easy to spot with all the lightning, and that has just been an uptick in the past 10 to 15 minutes. But yeah, that's exactly what we're looking at. So Mount Pleasant probably is bullseye right now. And we'll start having to trek this to looks like they're getting storm motion more of a an east-southeast component. So
yes,
I was trying to pull up, let's go OHX and velocity, but that's what it's given me.
See if HTX velocity looks any better, because it is moving that. Yeah, okay, it's moving that direction. So I kind of figured it would give a little bit better of a. So, oh yeah, I mean, it's, we're showing maybe values upwards of 70 miles an hour here within this line of storms as it comes in. Now, like we've been saying all night, these storms have kind of been in a radar hole, so to speak. So, it's been kind of hard to get an exact reading on.
You can see the range ring right there.
Yeah, you can see, it's kind of hard to get a really good reading on some of these, but, overall, it is a fairly impressive thunderstorm for 3:21 in the morning, considering that we've already had a lot of rain and thunderstorms already move through the region. So, it's fairly impressive here that we have another severe thunderstorm warning in this area.
Well, let's go ahead and let's do a track on this to kind of let people know where these areas and what the timing would be. Let's go ahead and do that. You want to do the linear? Probably be better.
Yeah, let's do the linear, and I'm going to try to keep it. I do want to check and see how fast this thunderstorm is moving. I probably should have already checked that, but here we are. So it's moving east at 60. So this is this is a fast mover now. So let's. I'm going to try to keep it in our area specifically, but of course, there's sometimes you just got to do what you got. So. Let me also make sure that we've got the bigger communities in there.
Seeing some of the same.
Okay, so we have Culleoka 327, Linville 329, Bryant Station 323 or 332, excuse me, Cornersville 338, and Lewisburg at 339. So once again, very similar areas to before we were talking about, with the tornado warnings earlier. And let me check on one quick thing here, because it does look like that there may be a little couplet trying to get going here. It doesn't look, you can kind of see right.
It's on the line. Oh, you're looking at that one?
I'm looking at this one right here, but it's not overly impressive, and that would probably be south of our area. But these storms are still trying to rotate a little bit, at least, which is again fairly impressive for the time of day. But
yeah.
Anyway, we're still monitoring here, especially. Oh, let me check on the Mount Pleasant camera, because it's
definitely some of the highest returns in reflectivity right there, just south of Mount Pleasant.
Yes, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if we go to the Barron button here and see what. It's showing maybe some quarter to half.
Yeah, inch hail.
half inch to quarter sized hail here falling right outside of Mount Pleasant, moving into Mount Pleasant right now. So, and this is the same areas that are getting hit hard with the power outages too. There's a pretty good amount of power outages too with Duck River Electric right now in that area.
Those guys are out there trying to do this and getting pelted with rain again. So, and some pretty strong storms.
Yes, but I see the reason why I'm watching that area rotation. Now, I don't want to get anyone worked up, of course. This is more of a meteorological, just brain talking here. But you can kind of see how this region here is starting to curl inward a little bit. And you can see that this is starting to curl outward. And usually what will happen is you can get a little circulation to form right there. But we'll watch that closely. I'm not overly concerned right now for our specific area that would be, a big impact for us. But it does correlate fairly well to that little area of rotation I just saw a minute ago. But that's something we'll have to keep an eye on. But obviously, just looking at 140 strikes in the past 15 minutes, how impressively loud and obnoxious these thunderstorms are.
Absolutely, because that counts way up again. And because it was down there for a while, it's just pulsing back up. I guess the atmosphere wasn't done. It worked it over, but there was still enough. Again, we are east of I-65, so it'll be interesting to see, what happened. History tells us these storms get past I-65 and they fizzle. So we'll just have to see if that's what happens again, if history repeats itself. So, but anyways, Mount Pleasant, you are getting rocked right now. I'm so you guys have had it for sure. And the strongest of that, probably where that hail would be, where you see some of these black reflectivity returns right there on the fringe of the county line and very extreme southern portions of Maury County. So if I zoom in, Enterprise, Rockdale, Sandy Hook, these same areas a little while ago, we were telling you guys to hunker down and be in your tornado safe place. Screamer, South Point. You guys could be seeing the heaviest of that, not only the winds, but also some hail that's involved with that as well as it's trekking to the east. I'll just touch that and turn it off. Turn it off. I usually click it and it went off. I didn't want to go off that time. Okay. So again, that's the portion that's really the most concern right now. I'll go back real quick. I'll look at the velocity data. I think it was Huntsville we were looking at.
And there's still some. So those aqua blues there that you see on the screen, if you're watching at home, those are probably where we're getting some 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts ongoing there. 69, 77. Yeah. So we're getting some fairly good wind gusts in the upper atmosphere, just south of Mount Pleasant in this severe thunderstorm warning. But are they reaching the ground? I'm not entirely sure. But that's something that we need, ground reports for and everything like that. We need we need y'all's reports.
There we go. So I just kind of moved it over so we could get Colioca and Bryant Station in here. So these guys are going to be next in line. So those winds are really in Mount Pleasant right now. That leading edge is butting almost up to Highway 31, US 31. Colioca, like I said, you're downstream. Bryant Station, you're downstream here in the next several minutes. So you're not completely out of the woods yet. After we get through with this little rain shower right here, this little severe thunderstorm, it looks like on the backside of this, it's just good old, like Elijah was saying, pretty much stratiform rain. And so this will kind of be the end of it. Look right here. I was just going to show you this. Not that it's for us, but look right there.
Yeah, I think that, we're fairly close to.
I don't know what I just did there. It's all right. It's early in the morning.
Yes, it is. And there's going to be stuff. Real quickly, Christopher, I'd like to go here and look at the DRMC outages.
Sure, go ahead. I'll step
because
away.
The latest data coming in is showing that, we have a couple more outages across the same areas that have been pelted hard this morning. So we're talking about, the folks near Oh, hold on. I want to make sure y'all can see the screen good. So, we're talking about the folks near Hampshire and down towards Mount Pleasant, just south of Mount Pleasant. We have over 1,700 customers without power at least. And if we look at this from a county perspective, I think this tells a pretty good story here about who's been impacted the most. I mean, we have 1.8K customers without power in Murray County, and then it slowly starts to decrease as you go out. And Franklin County has 0.
Hey, they're winning.
So, the worst of the storms definitely haven't gotten to Franklin County yet. And like I said, that's why I was saying y'all are probably looking at us like we got 3 eyes because the storms haven't got to yet. But I promise they're coming. And they're going to come eventually. I don't think they're going to be as strong when they get to you, but of course they definitely are coming. So I do want to look at the velocity data once again here, and it does look like we are starting to get a little bit more tightening on the rotation here in northern Giles County. So that is something that and this is something we'll have to watch going into Lincoln County too. Lincoln County hadn't really got hit much with bad storms yet. You're getting some rain right now, but this is really, I think, a part of the storm that we're going to have to watch going into Lincoln County here after a while as well.
Yes.
But they do have Skycam at Campbellsville and Giles County seeing a wall cloud. So there is a wall cloud associated with this storm in Campbellsville, I believe. Yep, there it is. So, I mean, we're right here in this area where, we've kind of been watching some rotation moving, kind of off towards the east, towards Linville, and then eventually Petersburg and Cornersville and folks in Lincoln County as well. So this will be near Delrose and places along the CSX line there. I know I'm talking about train stuff because that's how I know those areas is because of the railroad. But anyway, there's a lot of stuff at play right now, and obviously, if we're not talking about your area, that's a good thing, right? I mean, we have widespread. We have the rain and the lightning and the thunder ongoing across the area, but in terms of a severe weather threat, for a lot of us is not that much. We're really just watching. Hold on, I got you.
I'm going to figure this out eventually. That's my Achilles heel. There we go. I was just trying to show that we're really looking at 2 things. First of all, we're looking at leading edge for the wind. Okay. And really some of those high values of reflectivity returns have kind of lessened. So the energy really is here, where we're looking at the possibility of some rotation. While it's not for us, maybe by the time it tightens up, it could get over here into the I-65 corridor, Cornersville. So that's kind of what we're keeping an eye out right now. Nothing to be superly concerned with just yet. But I'll go back here and look, and it's still there. You can still see a little bit of a couplet right there. But not enough that they're going to warn a tornado warning or anything on that just yet. And so we just, like I said, continue to look at.
It looks like it got a little bit tighter there in that last scan too.
Yeah.
Coming right up on Linville there.
Very, yes.
And this would be moving towards the 31A exit there, right off of I-65 there at the Tennessee and truck stop in Cornersville, the kids' place, and I think there's a pilot there as well on that exit. So this circulation would be coming directly towards those areas. Now, there's not a tornado warning currently in effect here, but there's something that I'm keeping a close eye on the weather services too. I'm looking over at the chat room side-eyeing from time to time to keep an eye on that stuff because, we do have, I mean, you can see
it there too.
There it is, and the new severe, no, never mind, sorry. So I thought they put out a warning for Lincoln County there with the blinking yellow. That kind of caught me off guard there for a second. But this is definitely where, if we have a circulation, Lynn Creek Road, Apple Hill Road, coming towards Linville and Aberthaney Road and Cornersville Road. And then eventually right up here, this is Pulaski Highway right here at the Tennessee and truck stop. Okay. There's a McDonald's here. I've ate at plenty of times coming back from Huntsville. But anyway, this is moving in that general direction as this continues to push off. And, the the values here are fairly impressive coming through Giles County here. I mean, we're talking about some 60, 70 mile per hour winds. But again, there's a lot of folks asking what's going on. What's going on in my area, what's going on here and there and everywhere else. You know, we have to hone in on the worst impacted areas. So like I said, if we're not talking about your area, that's a good thing, right? That's good. You should be happy that we're not talking about you. But if we are talking about you, then you probably need to be, paying a little bit closer attention. So if you're in Cornersville along US 31A, stick with me a little bit longer here as this storm kind of comes in, and you can see fairly clearly on reflectivity here where that circulation is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fairly.
You can see it right there.
Yes.
Almost like what you would reminiscence of a hook echo on a supercell on the rear flank.
Yes.
So, but yeah, that is the storm ingesting the inflow of that warm air, and it's circling back around. So again, it's not anything where it's tight enough that they want to warrant a warning yet, but it's just something to note and keep an eye on. And so, of course, when it's nighttime, you really have to go off radar data unless you can get lightning strike that gives you a good visual of it. And so again, that's portions of Cornersville, that area. Just kind of keep notice, be ready for that. But really, right now, in our immediate viewing area, it's just this line right here, and it is getting ready. I'm going to kind of zoom in. I'm going to turn that off, zoom in a little bit more. I'll turn this back over to velocity. And so you can see where the strongest winds are coming in right here on that severe thunderstorm warning. So really and truly, pretty much we're still seeing some pretty high returns. Oh, I did it again. No, I can't do it. Here, you cancel it for me. The special weather statement I clicked. Thank you. Thank you.
That's why we got two folks working this.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to figure this out before it's all said and done. But still, we're still seeing returns in the 70s. Now, again, that's up in the atmosphere. That does not mean that 73, 74, 64 mile an hour winds are on the ground right now. It's just the upper atmosphere has them, the lower level rather, and how much of that is actually reaching the ground.
I'm gonna go ahead and switch over and see if we can pull up our Cornersville camera here.
Okay, I'll back out then.
Fairly quickly just to see if a lot of these cameras are down right now due to the thunderstorms that have come through, but okay, Camera Explorer. Okay. It's kind of hard to see here for obvious reasons, but we do have it looks like it's raining fairly good.
There's some good lightning strikes you can.
There you go. So you're not going to see much here from the Cornersville camera just because it's so dark outside. So that's one of the things we deal with. But obviously, if you're in these areas, if you're in Lewisburg and Cornersville and have a report for us or anything like that, then feel free to pass it along here. But I still, it kind of looks like it's died down a tad bit in that last scan, but still around Linville, coming just south. I mean, it's going to be right near Pulaski Highway there at the intersection there with I-65.
Yeah, so it looks like that last scan, it pulsed up, and then it looks like it's died out a little bit. It's not near as it's not near as strong as that was. It's not as prominent. Let's put it that way. And so again, go ahead.
I know I keep on saying this. There's more folks that I think keep on joining in and asking, what about my area? What about my area? What about my area? So let's zoom out. All right. Since we don't have a tornado warning in effect with this, I think we can do some justice and zoom out. And Lord, it's just raining. It's a lot of rain. And this is good. But you can see, we have all of Bedford County is getting in on really moderate to heavy rainfall right now.
Yes.
No severe weather concerns in Bedford County at this point. I really don't think. We're still watching the far southwestern portion of Bedford County just to be on the safe side. Mm-hmm. But if you're in Chapel Hill, if you're in Spring Hill, if you're in Columbia, if you're in Neapolis, if you're in Santa Fe, if you're in Fly, if you're in Hampshire, if you're in going off towards Mount Pleasant as well, I think you're in the clear for this severe weather threat. Okay, so that means you're good to go. You can go to bed or start getting ready for work, whatever you're ready to do. So anyway, I feel like that everything is starting to calm down across the area. There's a lot of heavy rainfall starting to entrain on the environment, but of course we still do have the severe thunderstorm warning in effect, and they did just trim it back, I believe, a little bit more here.
Yeah, I can see them doing that at this
point. And hopefully we'll be able to get that update. Oh no, that was for the northern storm. I apologize. That was not for the
one up here. Yeah.
But anyway, we have a lot of heavy rainfall. It's pouring right now in Shelbyville.
Yeah.
Absolutely pouring. So let's go ahead and look here at the rainfall totals, because we have to be racking up here fairly quickly. In a lot of these zones that are seeing, heavy rain. We're already up to 1.5 inches in Chapel Hill. Shelbyville coming up on 1 inch fairly quickly here. Lewisburg about to hit 1 inch any moment now. We're almost approaching 3 inches out near Hampshire along US 412. So we're getting a lot of heavy rainfall, a lot of good soaking rain that'll be great for our drought concerns that we have. This is exactly what we were hoping would be in the forecast for us this evening, and it has verified. At least the rainfall portion of this forecast has verified very nicely. So anyway, I think for the most part, I think that Bedford County is, for the most part, we should be good to go. If you're in Shelbyville, it's just a lot of heavy rainfall. It's a lot of lightning, maybe some gusty winds here and there, but I really don't expect a major severe weather threat. And I would say you would agree there with that, Chris.
Yeah, it looks like the strongest part of the storm is south. So if you look in Bedford County, Shelbyville, and parts north, you're under a TMU, severe thunderstorm warning, a special weather statement. It's a strong storm, but it's not enough to reach severe limits right now. The bulk of that is really this part right here in Lewisburg, that area of the storm, which really has gotten, as I've touched the button again.
Just click outside of the polygon and it'll go away. Yeah, there you go.
It's really, I've noticed too, it's gotten really cluttered right here. And keep in mind of something, it has passed I-65. So I'd be interested just to go, I'm going to actually do that. I'm going to go to this part right here, probably back out one, slide it up a little bit. And I'm just going to check velocity data on this. It's still pumping a little bit. We still saw that. And then as it got closer to Shelbyville last time, it kind of fizzled out, right? And so really, again, we're looking at that part of the storm. And it's going to go, it's kind of tracking. They've got the polygon going more east-southeast. And so that's why, according to the track, it may miss Shelbyville to the south altogether. And so, again, some pretty strong returns as far as that's concerned with this leading edge. Well, as I did that, it reset itself. So let's try again. And, of course, I did that, didn't I? I'm like Vanna White up here. So we've got 64, 61. So, I'm just trying to check on down the line here a little bit more on Cornersville. Cornersville seems to be the hot spot right this very second. But again, these are the winds that are going to be tracking to the east-southeast, get those lower portions of Marshall County into Bedford County, kind of the lower half of Bedford County as it tracks to the east-southeast.
And Huntsville has extended that severe thunderstorm warning into Moore, Franklin, and Lincoln County. So we now have a severe thunderstorm warning that goes out all the way to Winchester, pretty much.
And this is until 4:45 a.m.
Whew.
I got to go to work. People go, I got another job. Yes, we got TCAT tests. And Mr. King go to fall asleep. But no, they are seeing that definitely these storms are packing a punch. A lot of this area right here has been untapped, really. Lincoln County, as Elijah was saying, really hasn't got terribly enough rain. Parts of Moore County did, but more toward the northern half. And poor Franklin County, you picked the big womp so far. We haven't even mentioned Grundy County yet. So long story short, we're going to be here for a little while as this storm is continued to track to the east, really, with a lot of these winds. And you can see them right here. 69 miles an hour, 66, 67. Yeah, 67. 54, which isn't really severe limits, but this storm is still packing a pretty good punch. And so the reason for them putting what I call this kind of a downstream severe thunderstorm warning, because I don't really think, if I go to velocity for just a second again, it's not really what we're looking at. It's not really this storm right here. Let me use blue, bright show blue. It's not, there we go. It's not this storm that we're looking at. It's this storm that's warranting the warning. So you're going to get some really heavy rain in here in just a minute in Fayetteville and parts of Lincoln County. Lynchburg, you're still getting pelted. But that's not really the severe part. The severe part's all the way back in Giles County, just really traveling east of I-65 or getting ready to hit the I-65 corridor. It's leading right up there. And so that really doesn't concern us right now. We can talk about Lynchburg and Winchester, but right now that storm isn't even in the vicinity. If you're going to get Lynchburg, you're getting a ton of rain. That's really not the cause of the severe thunderstorm warning. And so really starting to see a lot of congealing happen here with these storms. So what I want to do is just go back, go to Huntsville, see the velocity, and you can see this is where we want to look. This is actually almost better than looking at some of the storms. You can see just how messy this looks. So we'll come back here and look at the velocity, look at wind speeds in these storms, and you can definitely see some areas here, some areas down here that maybe will hold their strength. And that's why, again, the National Weather Service out of Huntsville has kind of issued this preemptively downstream to say, hey, you've got a storm coming. And so what I want to do is I want to put a storm track on this. I think it was at 55 miles an hour here. So let me turn this off. Let me go back up here and put this at 50. Was it? No, it's 50. And so if we're looking at this portion of the storm, we're looking at, let's see here, Chestnut Ridge. That's at 358. Hawthorne, we've already talked about you today at 401. Boonville, which is in Lincoln County, but it's right there on the Lincoln County, Moore County line pretty much. 404. Flat Creek going up 82 and County Line going up 82. You're at 409. And Bottle Hollow, you're at 410. So we've got quite a bit of time before it gets to you guys, probably here within the next 15 to 25 minutes. And I don't even think right now with that 50-mile-an-hour track that I could even pull this one just yet. But I could do this. If let's see here. No, it's the one that looks like, I call that the tank button because it looked like a tank to me.
I guess I need to pull up the Huntsville chat now.
Yeah.
Start monitoring that because I'm seeing that that area rotation there on the east side of Pulaski starting to pick up again.
So I'm just trying to give you guys some time frames here of when you could expect to see some of this. Whether I know of Fayetteville, but I know we do have a couple of people that watch from Lincoln County. You've got Lynchburg at 413, Tullahoma at 417. Manchester, I kind of put this more stronger line here, and that's not what I wanted to do, but there we go. Gives us an idea of when these storms are going to be headed into our area, really. So it's just a matter of time. Again, you were looking at a little area rotation. I know which one you're looking at, too. Let me put here.
Yeah, and it's right there on a little bit south of where I thought it was going to go. But it's right there at
talk about there.
Yeah, just south of the Cornersville exit between US 64 and the US 31.
Yes.
Corridor is kind of where I was thinking. Oh, sorry, I didn't have my mic on, so I don't even know if y'all heard me that much. But
I used to do that all the time. My people like, Chris,
like I said, folks, it's for it's 3:47 in the morning, so you get what you get. And I feel we're doing a great job, obviously, but it's early in the morning, so we're doing the best we can with the tools we got.
Absolutely. What's the old Garth Brooks song? 3:30 in the morning, not a soul in sight. Well, this is looking like a ghost town on a moonless summer night. What is that? Lightning or the thunder rolls? It's perfect for this tonight. Yeah, I like to use music to explain things. But yeah, really this, I'm going to be honest with you, looking at the radar returns here, I haven't, okay, good. So they just trimmed a portion of that. Mount Pleasant, you're finally in the clear. You've been completely removed of any warnings. You guys can go to bed and enjoy probably having some grass grow at exponential rates over the next couple of days with all that rain you guys have had. but really the target is really Lewisburg is seeing that. But the radar returns aren't weakening this really very much. Usually it was in this area last time where we saw the winds kind of die out and kind of fizzle. I'm seeing more lightning strikes in this area. It's like it wants to come back. It's like Mickey's telling Rocky, "Get up, Rocky, get up!" And so the storm is deciding to get up. And so
another thing to note there is we'll have to see how these lines interact with each other, because you can see there's kind of two areas that are going to congeal together, probably fairly close to Lynchburg, to Estill Springs, and down maybe around Kelso too in Lincoln County. So we'll have to watch how these lines start to interact together over the next little bit.
Well, if I remember the last time that you were on, we were doing our separate things, and you were covering that tornado warning in Maury County. That was when those storms, you had the supercells congeal into a line and form with that squall line. And what he's saying is that sometimes when these lines kind of form together, they could actually intensify for a short period of time. And so again, especially when you've got this rotation that's really, I mean, if you're looking at it, it doesn't have a lot of, there's no more warm air to really go anywhere with it. So I would assume eventually that little rotation that we were talking about maybe just gets the warm air cut off because of all the rain. And so I can go back and look at that, look at velocity data. And that, like I said, it's coming right in here. So, but pretty much this entire sector here that's under that severe thunderstorm warning, whether it be Cornersville, in Lewisburg, still getting some pretty strong winds there, and you have been for a while. But places like, as you go over 431, you got 231 here that's going south toward Fayetteville. This little southern section of the county is definitely seeing, I'll just zoom out. Oh, I know how to do this now. I figured it out. Go over here. Oh, wait, that's one. Geez, everywhere I touch. I was going to say, everywhere. Oh, yeah, let's go home. Click home. And there's nothing. It's the machine at the base at Tullahoma. That's what we say. If you're on here and you're in Tullahoma, you know what I'm talking about. But, yeah, it's still some very impressive numbers here for
that's almost 80 miles an hour there.
Yeah.
And that's getting fairly close to the radar site too. I mean, I would say if you're in Petersburg, right? If you're in Lynchburg, if you're in Fayetteville, let's go ahead and get ready for, some of these stronger winds of 60, maybe 70 plus miles per hour to come in, because this is some fairly stout, some fairly stout winds that we're seeing, at least in the atmosphere that the radar is picking up on. So there's some things we'll have to watch.
Yeah, and like I said, this really is our main concern. I can zoom out and show you that we do have some other stronger winds that are in northern portions of Bedford County and Marshall County, as I touched it again, and Maury County. Y'all should keep count of how many times I touched that. But it's really not the concern. You can see where the bulk of just by color to see where those those really bright, light aqua colors and these green colors are representing here 60 mile an hour plus winds in this storm as they continue to make their way. Going to clip portions of northern Lincoln County as it tracks to the east-southeast. And eventually, like I said, it's crossed over right here in Lewisburg. It'll be interesting to see if anybody in Lewisburg can report in, you guys. That's the best thing. If you see something, say something. And a lot of times the best thing that you can give us, it just kind of heads up. We're able to report this stuff to the National Weather Service, and they can get these storm reports. So if you have a location, an address, and if you have a picture, if you can do it safely, that would be most appreciative. And like I said, we can get that reported out to the National Weather Service, because a lot of times in these nocturnal storms, we just really don't know what's going on. We can see what the radar says, but until the sun comes up, we really don't know what kind of damage unless people like you are reporting in for that. And that's where you kind of get to be our eyes to the sky, if you will. And so again, it's this portion of Marshall County that we're looking at the most severe of those winds, and now kind of trekking over into parts of western Bedford County here as we get along. Let's see here. Whitaker, Bedford, Wheel, right there on that county line, Palmetto, Pleasant Grove, Branchville. So I just keep going down the line. Tally, Brown Shop, as I did it again. That's what happens. All right, so I'm going to go over here and touch off there. There we go. So all of those areas right there are really under the gun to start beginning to see that wind pick up in your area. And so that's basically it. That's what we're looking at most. The wind here to the south really doesn't look as impressive. The hotbed right now, if I look on radar, is this area right here. This area, it's there, but it's not as impressive. I mean, it's easy to tell where the bulk of that wind is. And like I said, not all of this is reaching the ground, because if it did, all trees would be down. It would be mass destruction. So parts of this wind is reaching the ground in certain pockets, and that's where you see those severe wind gusts. That's what warrants storm reports and whatnot.
Christopher, I have to tell you this, because this is a funny comment I just got. So Rachel Wallace just said she's calling it the sleeping game, okay? And every time Christopher touches a warning, we get a minute of sleep.
Can I get a minute of sleep? Because hey, Rachel, you will come up here. I need a minute of sleep.
Just spam tap the screen there so that we can get as much sleep as possible.
Yeah, there we go. There you go. I know, right? Exactly. Hey, but it's my first time, and I'm so used to doing with a mouse versus touching.
And there's as we continue to grow, we're going to get a lot of these kinks worked out. This is the first time I've had Christopher with me, so there's a lot of stuff we have to figure out. But I think we've done a great job. I mean, I've seen all the comments here, and I think we've done great. But we're still getting through the severe thunderstorms or warnings and stuff like that. Yeah, 4:00 in the morning here. It's probably going to be sunrise before I leave, because I have to do my radio hits before I leave.
Oh Lord,
for the day. So anyway, I forgot about that.
You're like, oh snap.
Yeah,
Oops.
yeah.
But there is that line, really. I'll call it the boomerang, because that's what it kind of looks like, a boomerang.
So I'm seeing a lot of reports here from Cornersville and Lewisburg, and they're just saying there's a lot of heavy rain and lightning. They're not really seeing the major severe wind gusts or anything that the radar is picking up on there. So
there it is. Another minute of sleep.
So
what we're saying is, we've alluded to this before. Just because the radar says it, and I've said this for years, just because the radar says it's 73 miles an hour, two things. How far is that away? I can tell you based off the math, because my students did it. At Tullahoma, the beam height's 3,800 feet, because the high top radar is 1,800 feet above sea level anyway. So by the time it's up in the atmosphere, if this is 3,800 feet, let's just double it. Let's call that 8,000 feet, 7,500, 8,000 feet above the surface. How much of those are reaching the ground? Probably, as you guys are telling us, not very much. But because of this on radar, that's what warrants that warning, because some of it, one pocket of it could, and all it takes is a wind gust of 58 miles an hour, and that's it. That's what warrants a severe thunderstorm warning. And so it doesn't have to be widespread. It can be just a tiny spot on the map.
Let's look at the outage map here again from Duck River.
While you do that.
Just to go through that fairly quickly here. Let me go back to the computer and webcam so we can see it a little bit clearer. And this is right from the horse's mouth here at the Duck River Electric, their outage viewer. We actually have this on our weather app. So if you download the weather app, you can actually look at this map directly in the app, which I think is awesome. But I think Duck River also has an app that you can use to pay bills and stuff like that. But anyway, we have a new pocket of 900 customers without power going into downtown Lynchburg and maybe out towards Tanyard Hill, Pleasant Hill Road, Chestnut Ridge Road area, Cobb Hollow Road. But you can see there's a lot of scattered outages with this event, but definitely a bigger pocket over here, further towards the south and west near Mount Pleasant, near Hampshire, where we had, or Hampshire, however you pronounce it. I apologize if I'm butchering that, but you can see that, the highest concentration of the power outages have been where we've had the worst storms move through. Now, obviously, some of these other power outages are probably due to a lot of different factors that we don't know about right this moment. But you can see there's a couple power outages out and about this morning. So just be aware of that heading into the morning hours, or deeper into the morning hours, I should say. But yeah, okay, let's get back to the TV and webcam here, so you can come on in to view there, Chris.
Well, the thing about it is, you notice most of those were centered around I-65. Again, that seems to be the hotbed.
Yes, along and west of I-65, where we have been forecasting this whole time.
Man, that is messy looking, but that's okay. That's going to be a lot of rain.
It's messy looking, but I tell you what, I mean, that is the best. That's the best. This is the best looking radar image I've seen in a long time.
Yeah,
for our area. I mean, we had some widespread showers a couple weeks ago, especially on a Saturday. But this is widespread heavy rainfall for pretty much everybody. So this is by far. And let's go ahead and look here at the rainfall totals we've had.
Let's go do that.
And just to
totals 3 hours.
And you might
look at that. Yeah. More of it. Oops, or we both touched it at the same time. Most of that has now filled in green. It's funny, is if you've been with us for any length, it was Columbia area, Mount Pleasant, and there was a pocket of green toward the northern part of these counties, but now it seemed to fill in. So let's just get some totals right here. Lewisburg, you're at an inch, 1.31 inches, 1.2 inches in Shelbyville. Lynchburg, you've got 8,500ths of an inch.
And going to keep on adding on to that, too, because there's more storms coming in.
Now, Manchester, they must have just did a new
special weather statement. Yep.
So 7,700ths of an inch in Tullahoma. Obviously, the counties over to the east are getting less because the rain's traveling from west to east. So as this rain continues to train basically over the same areas, you're going to see what we call, when I grew up in Moore County, we call this a gully washer. Okay. So you got you a good old southern gully washer tonight. Some good rain. So that's what we've got right now as far as the rain is concerned. We'll get back to the radar and look at some of this velocity again.
In the Weather Service in Huntsville is noting here that observations within the line have only been around 40 miles an hour, which lines up fairly well with the way folks are talking in Lewisburg from earlier.
Exactly.
And she this is Katie McGee, she's awesome at the weather. She's a science operations officer at NWS Huntsville, and she's saying that we're probably still stable at the surface, so those strong winds are just struggling to reach the ground. So maybe a little pocket of stable air there, like we've been mentioning, especially along and west of I-65, we have more along and east of I-65, we have a little bit more stable air moving through. But they are going to continue this severe thunderstorm warning. They just continued it just now. So we'll have to wait and see how this develops as it continues to push off. But
I'm going to zoom out so we can kind of see, because they've refreshed this. They've gone in where we had the severe thunderstorm warnings, and they've pretty much
we're down to a lot of special weather statements here. Like we have a special weather statement for pretty much all of Grundy County, and coming up into pretty good portion of Coffee County for Tullahoma and Manchester, and down to Hillsborough, and then also southeastern Bedford County. So we're talking about Normandy and Flat Creek, Ross down to Flat Creek, and also into Hinesville as well. So, just kind of where we're seeing the worst of the wind and rain, or the worst of the rain and thunder and lightning right now, is kind of where we're seeing, the special weather statements and everything else. And again, a special weather statement, I need to make a graphic about that and put it in here, but a special weather statement is basically like a junior varsity severe thunderstorm warning. Yep. So the storm is not strong enough to have a severe thunderstorm warning, but it's still noisy, it's still strong, and it can still cause a ruckus. Okay, so that's kind of the whole ordeal here. And I'll be honest with you, just over the past, I keep on saying I'll be honest with you, but if we take a step back and view this over the past hour here, we'll see our area really got hit the hardest this evening. I mean, there was some area, minus the tornado warning in Hendersonville and up north of Nashville, our area really got hit the hardest this morning with the thunderstorms and the warnings and just everything else. There was just a lot of activity this morning, which I mean, we need the rain badly, and I hope that there's not very much damage out there. I'm afraid to say that there probably is. At least some respectable damage off towards the west there near Mount Pleasant, at least. But here locally, it's for our Southern Tennessee weather area, this has been a great rainfall event for us. And I personally don't think that this forecast could have done much better for us. I mean, I think the forecast overall was pretty good. But just looking at the reflectivity here, our severe thunderstorm warning our severe thunderstorm warned storm is very quickly just congealing into this glob of heavy rain.
Pretty much.
I would be very surprised if there are any. We actually have hopefully by the end of this week, we're going to have a camera and a weather camera and sensor in Lynchburg. So we'll be able to get some good data, for the next event in Lynchburg. But at least for right now, we're just having to deal with the cards we're dealt.
Absolutely. Well, here's what I want to do real quick. I want to talk about Shelbyville, really to the north. Go to bed or wake up.
Yes, please.
Or wake up.
Yes.
I would say Marshall County, you're clear. Maury County, you're clear. That's why I was looking at to see what's on the backside. There's a couple of cells over there near Memphis. They look like they're tracking more of that southeast component. So
yeah, they're going to move well south of us, I believe. And not only that, but I think that activity is actually going to shoot us over some nice stratiform rain going into the morning, which will help out a lot more with, the more rain we can get, the better.
So basically, if you are to the left of that blue line, go to bed.
Yeah.
Okay. That is the worst of the weather,
So honestly, I'm going to go ahead. I don't think this is premature at all, but I would go ahead and say all of Bedford County is in the clear.
Yeah.
All of Marshall County and all of Murray County. So if you're in Columbia, Spring Hill, Mount Pleasant, you're clear. Lewisburg, you're in the clear. Shelbyville, you're in the clear. Okay. Coffee County, especially the southern part, stay with me just a little bit longer here. Same thing with Grundy County there. And of course, we still have the severe thunderstorm warning for our far southern tier against the Alabama state line.
But they've even said, the National Weather Service has said they're going to go ahead and keep this severe thunderstorm warning. But really, the winds are dying down significantly with only 40-mile-an-hour gusts. So I touched it again. So that's at 4:45. I don't see them keeping that to 4:45, to be honest with you. If it continues to track, they may flip it into a special weather statement and go ahead and include all of Franklin County over there to the mountain. As this thing treks, I'll just look real quick. Huntsville velocity. Yeah, it's not terribly impressive. Like they're saying, most of this stuff is not reaching the ground because of the stable atmosphere. That's the cap I was talking about. We have air that rises. And you've got basically, when in theory, air is supposed to cool off when it rises. Okay. The higher you go in the atmosphere, the cooler it is. Well, there was a temperature inversion, which there was a pocket of air that was actually warmer. So as air begins to rise because it's warm, it hits that temperature inversion and stops. We call that the cap. And that could be limiting some of that wind a little bit. But that's what they mean by a stable atmosphere. So really the atmosphere is conditionally unstable. And that's what we saw up here in parts of Bedford County. And really the bulk of the worst of it was really west of I-65 as it rolled through. So again, we're just looking at this line that moves through. And really, truthfully, if you're in this part, which I'll just kind of zoom in here. So I'll come into my people over here and let's do that. Let's back up a little bit. Yeah. And so I did it again, but that's all right. I fixed it. I can fix it now. All right. So really that line is moving into parts of, that's right there at not Cobb Hollow, but more Ridgeville area. If it'll zoom in and give me some, there we go. See, told you. Ridgeville, because I grew up in this area. Turkey Creek, Cobb Hollow area. It really points to the south where you see the strongest wind. But you see this line right here? When this line moves through and that initial wind moves through, that's pretty much it as far as what would have warranted the warning. On the backside of it, you're just going to get a heavy amount and a most welcome amount of rain. And so kind of locations in the path kind of moving forward. I'll just zoom back in again. Give me some of these. Beach Hill, Marble Hill, Herdlow, Estill, 41A, going back toward Tullahoma. You've already got it, probably right there where the movie theater is. Estill, it's going to reach you. Winchester Springs, Broadview, the Twin Creeks area, all of that as you get closer into Winchester. It's going to be coming in the next few minutes. I mean, I can give a time frame on that if we were like, we just want to do this. And so Winchester is like 421. Estill, it's probably going to be less than that, but 414. Deckard at 419. And then points. Cowan's not even in the severe thunderstorm warning, but if I were to go all the way to Cowan, we're looking at 426. And so within the next, like by 4:30, this should be all moved out, hopefully. And then,
like you were just saying, Chris, I really don't. I don't think that these storms are severe at this point. They're very noisy. Don't get me wrong, but noisy doesn't equal severe. So that's what a lot of folks, I think they have a misconception sometimes of, well, it seems really bad in my house, or the wind and the rain and the lightning can be very overwhelming sometimes, but that doesn't necessarily make the storm severe. There's very strict criteria that goes into the severe warnings that are issued by the National Weather Service. So I'm seeing a few comments here load in about the severe weather threat for tomorrow. So would you like to roll over that?
Again. Yeah, we can go back over that.
And we'll so we're going to go over to the other view here.
Yeah. To make a long story short, before he gets started, tomorrow's threat really is conditional.
Or today.
Well,
this evening,
today.
Yes,
sorry,
this evening's.
I haven't gone.
Let me turn that off. I apologize.
Today's threat is really conditional because what we don't know truly yet is once all this rain moves out of the area, okay, and the next batch of rain comes in, severe storms, according to the Storm Prediction Center, is the atmosphere going to be able to turn back over and get destabilized again? That's really left to be uncertain. Weather briefings from the National Weather Service have been saying that for a couple of days. We think we know what happens, but until really those storms get out of here, again, what we probably don't want tomorrow, just keep this in the back of your mind. We probably do not want a clearing of the skies and the sun to come out to warm things up. That will increase the likelihood of some severe weather. And you hear meteorologists say that all the time. You don't want the sun to come out. So we'll have to be watching for that around noon to mid-afternoon to see if that happens. So really, do you want me to do this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So right now, all of the southern Tennessee weather viewing areas under a slight risk. That's a level 2 of 5. That would be 0.4 for you math people, or 40%. Anyways, so that's what we're going to be looking at right here. Our threats, which I don't know if you've had a second to look at that. I think parts of our area, maybe on the very far western side, have a 2% risk of a tornado, very small. The main event and the main threat that we're going to be seeing out of any severe weather tomorrow is going to be exactly what most of us had today, is severe wind. And so again, we've got models that didn't look terribly impressive as we fast forward. I don't know if did you want to show Futurecast?
Let's look through Futurecast real quick. And we'll, so here's the line, and this has already come through basically for a lot of us. So don't take that, too seriously, but we have a lot of stratiform rain, right? That's going to stick around with us. And then let's zoom out here. If we zoom out, you can see that off to the west here. Mm-hmm. Now this is Memphis. Those roads coming together there. That's Memphis, and you can see, you have some pretty stout thunderstorms that form there in Memphis into the morning hours, or into the afternoon and evening hours. Excuse me. But by the time they get here, like here's 10 o'clock p.m. on Tuesday. It's going to be a nice soaking rain if this happens, but the severe weather threat, I don't think we're going to get very much at all out of that.
Right. And really, if can I do this? Yeah. The main severe weather threat, which is a level 3 enhanced, is out here in portions of Mississippi and off to the west.
And you can, if I play this down here, you can see where that's a pretty impressive line or complex of storms that moves through. But this is in Mississippi, right? This has
way far away
nothing to do with us up here. So I don't think the threat tomorrow or today is later on today is anything too impressive, but we're going to be keeping a close eye on it like we always do. I mean, I'm going to be looking at the back of my eyelids for a good portion of the morning hours, but heading into the early afternoon, I'm definitely going to be keeping a close eye on stuff as the conditions warrant and stuff like that.
And I honestly think that we'll know a little bit better about tomorrow's threat probably early afternoon. Once we finally get all this out, we get to see what the atmosphere is going to do. We get some good readings, atmospheric readings, and then they'll make a plan. So it wouldn't surprise me as the Storm Prediction Center update. They've already updated for this morning. They did it at 1:30, which is about 3 hours ago at this point. So long story short, yeah, we'll just have to wait till tomorrow afternoon to really kind of get a better gauge. And then when those storms start coming, it's going to be one of those where we think we know what's going to happen, but it's going to be a nowcasting moment where we're going to have to be watching the radar, seeing the strength of these storms. Do they carry their strength? So on and so forth. But regardless, our main threat is going to be wind, just as it was tonight. Tornado threat is very low. I think there's like a 2% risk or something out there.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to show you all the Winchester camera here.
Oh, because people love this one.
Yeah, this is the Winchester. Oh, sorry. Hold on. There we go. The Winchester camera has been one of the top performing cameras that we've had. This is WinFi. Folks there at WinFi have done a great job here of putting this camera up overlooking the square there, and you can see the rain is coming down. There's some lightning there, but in terms of a severe weather threat, severe weather that's ongoing here, there's no really strong winds. I'm not seeing any of that. Not seeing any hail. So overall, these storms are starting to behave here as we head into the later into the 4 o'clock hour. So it's interesting. So Kelsey just said that the wind in Estill sounds insane. Okay, well, thank you very much. So thank you for that report. So anyway, you can look at these anytime you want on the Skycam network. We actually have a map built in now to the Skycam network, and you can just come over and zoom over the maps and see whatever you want. The Cowan camera is another big hit. Here's a good view of the Cowan camera. Just a lot of heavy rain, right? Heavy rain ongoing in Cowan. So if you're ever bored or want something to do, take a look at these at these sky cameras that we have, because there's a lot of great views across the area. But anyway, that was just a quick little spout about those sky cams, because those are. I think that's one of the coolest things that we offer here at Southern Tennessee Weather. So anyway,
nobody else has that around. Nobody else has there are people that have cameras, but as many as we have and as many as we're going to get. I actually saw a report of somebody lost power on Hurricane Creek Road. I grew up on Hurricane Creek Road. If you're talking Lynchburg, I grew up there. That's my road. I grew up there until I got married and moved to Tullahoma. So I know that road very well. Just have to tell me what part of the road it's on. I lived on the upper part where there was a big log cabin next to the road. So anyways, really these storms, here's that line, between just west of Winchester. It's not the leading edge, it's the one behind it.
Mm-hmm.
They really haven't congealed quite yet. They're still trying to, they're like brothers and sisters that just want to keep fighting here, and they just have not congealed yet. But really, truthfully, Estill, like I said, it's 4:17. I think we forecasted stuff to be out of here by 4:30 or so.
Yeah, I would easily say at the very latest it would be out of Sherwood and Anderson by like far southeastern Franklin County there no later than probably 5 o'clock, I would say, is when the storms will be completely out of our area, and then we'll be able to reset and kind of get our bearings straight for the following days, or to later on today, the potential severe weather threat that we have. And you can see off to the west, there's still some probably going to be. Let's look at the national composite here. Well, that's not as impressive as I thought it was. I thought there was a lot more stratiform rain up here, but we're probably not completely done with the rain. Going to get a little bit of activity, continue to push in, but no more severe weather. We're done. We're done with the severe weather. And actually, I guess we probably need to do this, Chris, because we hadn't done it in a little bit. Let's go ahead and mark some more all clears off here.
I would say all of Coffee County, because it's already passed. I would even say Moore County as well, because that line is now south of the Kelso area, Liberty Hill, the very extreme southern part of Moore County.
So
Winchester, Franklin County, I would say points north, Estill, and points to the northwest. So if I'm thinking Estill, the Center Grove area, again, that Highway 130 corridor, Himes Lane and north up there by North Lake, that would be Center Grove area. All of that, you guys would be clear. Winchester, you're getting ready to be clear. Pretty much all of the leading edge is already past the lake, I would think, by this point. Yeah, it's already past the lake. Twin Creeks, you would be good. So basically, it's that 64 corridor. So you've got Huntland, Belvedere. Some of those places still have not seen that rush of wind. In Cowan, it's almost at your doorstep, even though you're not really included in. I think they're included in are they included in special weather statement? They are not. So, or even anything right now. So it's like I said, probably the northern half of the county, pretty much. Arnold Village up there at the very top, up there by UTSI. You guys are good. It's just really, basically, if you look at 64 literally is the divided line. So if you are north of 64, you're pretty much in the clear. If you're south of 64, you still have this line that comes through. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I think so too. And that, honestly, we still have another, we have another 25 minutes or so on this severe thunderstorm warning, but it's not like we're fairly close to the radar now that we would be seeing any major wind or tornado concerns or anything like that. And I mean, this is not severe wind. We're talking 40 to 50 miles an hour.
I'm going to pull it up a little bit. So I'm going to drag it. Oh, can I drag it up? No, I got to do this. So I'm going to drag this up a little bit. We're talking about the radar site is right there at high top. So we are less than 30 miles away from that radar site. So the benefit of Franklin County is that you guys are the absolute closest county pretty much to the radar. You guys get beautiful imagery when stuff comes through, good and bad, but you're really able to see with fidelity, high contrast, and just really good pictures of stuff there in Franklin County.
So and another thing I want to mention here in the comments is, even though we're not saying the storm is necessarily severe by definition, does not mean that the storm is not strong, right? I mean, obviously, these storms are fairly noisy as they move through, but in terms of like severe weather where we're getting damaging wind gusts or large hail or a tornado or anything like that, it's not something that we're seeing at this time. And the severe thunderstorm warning has actually been trended back a pretty good bit here, and really just includes from Huntland over to Winchester, up Keith Springs Mountain, and then going over here towards Kelso and Flintville as well.
Yeah,
really the Elora there going off towards Winchester Road into Madison County, Alabama. But honestly, this it'll. I wouldn't be surprised to see this get canceled early, but that's something we'll have to see about as it gets closer. But anyway, a lot of the major rain has started to shift off, so I wanted to do another check. I know we've looked a lot this evening, but let's check on the rain totals here, because it's still fairly stout. I mean, we're talking 2.3 inches there. coming right between Hampshire and Mount Pleasant along the 412 corridor. A lot of rain over there, and we got 1 to 2 inches pretty much everywhere across the region, right? Like south of Shelbyville, 1.7. We're talking about just under an inch in Manchester. It's going to be an inch by the time the storms get done.
Yeah.
You're Lynchburg there, 1.66 inches.
Yeah.
So Winchester, you're just now getting in on some of the heaviest rain, so it'll take a little while to start adding up for y'all. But I mean, just overall arcing, just talking about the whole area, we all saw 1 to 2 inches from this event, and this is fairly impressive rainfall totals that we've seen so far this morning.
Yeah, really, it really has, and much needed across the entire area. So really, we're just looking at this line right here. That's it that I drew in blue, and pretty much that's what is warranted the severe thunderstorm warning. Really, most of Lincoln County could almost be trimmed out of that at this point, except for extreme south eastern portions of Lincoln County, but that's not our viewing area. But yeah, really, we don't have much more to go. And so, like I said, basically, if you are Winchester, Altamont, Tullahoma, Lynchburg, Fayetteville, well, we don't cover Fayetteville, but some of you watch, Shelbyville, all you guys.
We're about to start covering.
Yeah,
that's coming.
That's
coming.
Good.
Fayetteville, Lincoln County is coming soon. Don't worry. But I did want to mention there actually is a severe thunderstorm warning off here towards the west, but I believe that will be there. Like all this area here is just, I mean, it's so worked over from the storms that we just had. I mean, you're talking some of these areas that I just highlighted had 3 rounds of storms.
Yes, they did.
So
Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, Mount Pleasant. Yeah. So, I really don't think we're going to be dealing with any more severe weather. So if you see this off to your west on the Southern Tennessee Weather Radar app or right now when you're seeing it, don't be too concerned about that because, like I said, our atmosphere is way overworked. And that's all I'm going to say about that warning over there because I could say a lot at 4:30 a.m. But Elijah becomes a little unfiltered when it gets this early in the morning. But anyway, we're talking about our area here. The worst of the rain is from Dunlap to Altamont down to Mont Eagle, coming through Winchester, Cowan, Suwanee, and then down into Huntland and Kelso and Flintville at this time is really where the worst of the rain is. But again, I mean, if we look at the velocity data here, and this is coming right in on, I mean, this is a great look with these storms, and we're maybe 50 miles an hour at the most here.
Right, and so somebody was talking about severe thunderstorms. You could have a 55-mile-an-hour wind gust and it not be a severe thunderstorm warning. It's got to be 58 miles an hour.
That's what happened 2 Thursdays ago. We had really strong winds and actually had a pretty good amount of power outages and tree damage and stuff, especially across our northern set of counties. But those storms weren't technically severe either. Like we never had a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for those areas. So, just because a storm isn't severe warned does not mean it can't be bad, right? But to be severe, by definition, you have to have 58 mile per hour winds, quarter-sized hail, or a tornado. And right now, we don't have any 3 of those things based off the data that I'm being presented with and I'm looking at my own eyes with. Now, I mean, we still have the severe thunderstorm warning in effect, and I think that's mostly just to cover our butts in case something, goes crazy before it enters into Alabama, over the next 10 minutes, but it's not much.
Yeah, it's not much. I mean, that could easily just be a special weather statement at this point based off the data because there's not anything with it being that close. They're just going to let it ride out probably. Well, I don't know. They'll probably, because it'll be out of the area by 4:45.
Yeah, well, knowing Huntsville, it might be a little bit longer, but we'll see. And one person just asked if Columbia had a tornado. I don't think that Columbia proper there was no tornado. I don't even think the tornado warning was for Columbia. It was further south here.
It was Mount. Yeah.
Actually, if there was a tornado, it actually I think would have been somewhere like in this general region. Now, I'm not saying there's a tornado on the ground for this exact amount of time, but just based off the data that we saw earlier while we were tracking this, I'm thinking that that's probably where the worst of the the damage was from a potential tornado and stuff. And believe it or not, that actually correlates very well, and that ties into the power outage map from Duck River Electric. And you can see fairly well that zone there from Columbia into or Mount Pleasant, into far southern Murray County. You're seeing, we have some power outages upwards of 1.7 thousand customers, and then just kind of scattered about everywhere else. There's a pretty good power outage over here with almost 1.5K without power here on the eastern side or western side of Estill Springs along Timms Ford Lake. That's a fairly new one from the line of storms that have come through. But overall, you can see that for the most part, these storms have been fairly scattered with the damage that has occurred. So the worst of it has definitely been off towards the south and west. So anyway, we'll get back to the view here real quick, and I'll put you back on the screen here. There we go. All right,
let's go back over here to just do this, and then we'll come back and we'll just zero in on this area right here. All right, so it looks to be that line is really now south of 64, and we're really getting into some unpopulated area because pretty much the mountains start in this region right there where that line is, and so there's not a terrible. You got Anderson, you've got Sherwood, and that's really it. So it's really kind of going up the mountain right now as we speak. These winds are, and really with those winds, we're looking at there's a 55 mile an hour one, 49. There's 51 over here. I was just curious to see what it was over there. All right, so and then just south of Huntland, 54. So probably the strongest corridor of wind seems to be right there on that Lincoln County, Franklin County line there, just south of Huntland as you're going down into northern Alabama. So that's really it. And once this line moves through, this is it. And again, it's not terribly impressive when you're looking at the returns here. It's close, but it's not quite the limit yet. So
yeah, I'm being completely honest here. I think that we can about call it an evening here, or call it a morning with our severe weather coverage, just because the strongest winds are moving out. So Huntland just got through it there, and it's going across the state line, and really everywhere else we're just kind of seeing some.
Look at that strikes.
The strikes are way down here, only down to 43 strikes. One thing before we get off here, Duck River Electric just said, thanks everyone for your patience. Our system operators report we are working hard on our existing outages as conditions allow. So Duck River Electric is working hard to make sure your power comes back on.
Absolutely.
But it does take time. So just be patient into the morning hours, and we will of course Duck River Electric will keep you updated there on their Facebook page as additional information comes in. But honestly, I think we're about good for the evening with our severe weather coverage. We still have the strong storms kind of exiting out of Franklin County at this point, but no severe weather concerns for the rest of the morning. So I'm giving an all clear for everybody. But don't forget, we do have a severe weather risk in play for tonight. Okay, so just something to keep in mind, and we'll keep you updated as the day goes on.
Absolutely.
But thank you guys for tuning in, and I thank you, Christopher, for coming in and being a part of this, because it went a lot smoother, I think, having two folks to bounce ideas off each other.
Absolutely.
And I've been seeing all the comments roll in, and I think everyone is ecstatic to have you aboard here. So
it's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, and I appreciate you, Mr. Christopher, for being with us this evening.
I'll do it one more time for somebody. There you go. I touched it. You go to sleep.
Yes, go to sleep. So I know when I get done with my radio hits, recording those here in just a minute, I'm going to be heading to the bed. heading to the bed.
Lucky you.
Yes. Lucky me is right.
I still
lucky
have
me
to
is
help
right.
go to my other job.
Yes. So,
maybe I'll leave early. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just kidding.
all right. So thank you guys for tuning in to our severe weather coverage with Southern Tennessee weather this morning. And we'll continue to update as the day goes on about our upcoming severe weather events. But until then, have a blessed start to your Tuesday morning. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Accurate local weather without the mainstream hype. You're watching the Southern Tennessee Weather Channel.